The following podcast episode might contain coarse language and subjects not suitable for younger audiences. Your discretion is advised.
Live from a not-so-sleepy little town comes a podcast for a mobile game. Really? Anyhow, your hosts, a content creator and an artist trying to come up with wild ideas while also talking about whatever. It's the Goosebumps HorrorTown TerrorVision podcast!
Hello, happy holidays, folks. If you're watching this, that means it's probably the 23rd, and we're getting close to the holidays, not only for Christmas, but Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. And I figured we release it on a Monday instead of a Friday because I wanted to get on the hold of the holidays, because at this point, we wouldn't be able to show you this because if we did previously, then we wouldn't be able to. It would be late, right? It would be sad, right? But we'll get more into that in a moment. But as always, I'm Grim, and with me as I have my co-host.
Hey, where am I? This isn't my house. What? Who are you?
Grandpa, wake up. Wake up, Grandpa. Where's Vampire? Where's Vampire?
Where? Oh,
Vampire!
I don't play baseball.
All right, Johnny. Yeah, funny horror. All right, yeah. So
used to cost a quarter. They still do, Grandpa. Where'd you come from?
We used to call pennies and bees. That was the style at the time. Okay.
In my day, for 25 cents, you could get 50 pounds of candy.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, vampires here again, as usual. All right, folks. So, wouldn't you believe it? We spent 4 or 5 hours talking without actually doing a video, posting this thing. We were like, we're going to start. Oh, hold on. Let me talk about one other thing. And then it leads to another thing. We should get to the topic of stuff. And then we go do another thing. And it never ends. It never ends. But the problem is our talking sometimes doesn't even lead to things of this production value that you like. Again, all of it is interesting, but sometimes things we talk about is sensitive topics we don't want to share with you. Like, we don't want to have another incident of an Ellie situation, do we? We wouldn't want that. That would be too exciting.
Sometimes we just talk way too damn much, and we love it.
And that's why you watch our videos. It's the show that talks about Goosebumps HorrorTown, but also a bunch of random stuff. We always get a tangent. Yeah. That's why you love us. We're never. It's never a dull moment here at the HTTV studios. But this is an interesting episode because this is a me episode. This is all about me and my party. Because we have some interesting topics to talk about. But before we go ahead and talk about myself and stroke my own ego, let's go ahead and talk about the last update we had recently, which was Ghost Beach. Now, we have talked about it briefly, part 1 and part 2 a bit, but this is now the whole story of it. We've basically played through everything, and we've seen what a 2-parter looked like. And now it's our final topic of the matter. So, what was your thoughts overall?
Well, I never really completed part 2. I've completed the progression, but I haven't exactly finished the story per se, so I don't know if you did, but you would have to fill me in on that. But
you call yourself a fan. For shame.
I was so... Okay, firstly, I didn't really have the fun to complete everything, so I was kind of on a constrictive time limit when it came to that sort of thing. So by the time I did finish the completion, it was like 9 days before the event ended. And on top of that, I also had to work on other, artworks that I needed to get done and completed and everything.
Yeah, no, I'm not. So, again, I'm not shaming. I'm just pulling your leg, man.
Yeah,
I know you're a very busy guy.
My position of things.
No,
but I did finish part 1, and part 1 was actually pretty decent. The only thing I liked about part 2 was the twist of Terry.
What was the last part you got to before it ended for you?
I did save like a screenshot, so I would have to double check on that. Give me a tick, Roni.
Speaking of when sorry.
Okay, so No, that was the side quest. Um,
Are you talking about the
I
side
think
quest
this
with
has been
Mist?
what's that?
Are you talking about the side quest with Mist?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think this in terms of the story, um, they were going to, or Dustin, Lucy, and Terry were all going to go meet with Seder to get a ghost trap of sorts. And they're like, "All right, well, let's reconvene somewhere in the afternoon." And that's kind of where I left off.
So what happened was basically she went to her parents and be like, "Oh, who is this little guy?" And the dog's growling and barking at them. And she's like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you barking? You never barked at Lucy and Dustin." Wait a minute. And then that's when she clues in and is like, "What is going on? You want to tell me something?" It's like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Well, he only barked at the ghosts, and I can't remember anything." And she's like, "Oh, I knew this day would come. Okay, we need to talk, right?" So then they do that, and then they come back, and it's like, hey, it's like, "Hey, Terry, glad you come. We got this vacuum from Sater." It's like, "Yeah, it cost a pretty penny, but we got it." And it's like, guys, I gotta tell you something. The ghosts that were haunting us, that was my aunt and uncle." And it's like, What? What do you mean?" "Yeah, and I'm also a ghost."
The fuck?
And they kind of go off on that, and then they go, "Oh, we're sorry, kids. We didn't mean to do this type of stuff. We just love our Terry. We just didn't want her to be lonely," type of thing. Because it turns out they were only killing kids for the last 50 years just to have Terry not be alone. It's like, it's that touching.
What?
It also implies certain things. Like any kid character now, it's like, wait a minute, is that implying that they killed kids before? Or did they fail the job? Because the only other kid, quote unquote, character that we have is Sharon, and she supposedly died in a fire, right? So did that imply
Yeah.
that she died through them, and that's why she didn't know she was the ghost? Because she probably
Wait,
died
wait,
through
wait,
a
wait, wait.
fire when she sleeps.
This could hold on. It depends on how long they've been for, because this might also oh,
Yeah. Well, no, it's 50 years. So Andrew Claw was like in the 1800s or something like that, right? So
um,
yeah, so he doesn't count. He died way before. He got his head chopped off from other means. He didn't come in and
well,
chop.
no, I got that premise. I got that premise if it
Yeah.
wasn't fucking obvious.
So
It's
so
like, how did he
anyway,
die?
yeah. So anyways, they're implying that. So they end up going and apologizing to the kids, and they're like, "Well, now that everything's all dandy and that she knows this truth, I guess it's now for me and my wife to go to the great beyond." It's like, what do you mean by that? It's just like, we've been on this earth for too long. It's like, Dustin, you have that vacuum cleaner, so that would be a good idea for us to go to the great beyond. So fucking suck us up, buddy, and then we can be on our way.
What?
Yeah, they're
What?
implying that. So it's like, oh, that's great. Suck us up. I love it too because I had fun with this joke. It's just like, well, now you know our secrets. I guess we gotta eat you. You dig up your bones. Yeah, but anyways, no.
Oh
But
my
then
god!
later,
No way. There's no way that the Great Beyond is inside a fucking vacuum cleaner.
no, they're trying to imply that they want to move on, so they have to undie, basically. And their way of doing that, it's like an excuse of, like, oh, we get vacuumed up by the ghost vacuum. That's our way to go to heaven. Well, I mean, I don't know if they go to heaven anymore because of all the things that they might have done. So
Yeah, right.
it kind of implies that whole scene. It's just like, I imagine just like, the great beyond. Oh wait, no, I forgot all the bad things I did. No,
It's like, we killed people, but it was for a good cause, so we should deserve to go to heaven. My
nah,
God.
down the hell you go. No, but then later she's like, Terry's like, "Oh, I can't believe they're gone. I guess you guys don't need me, because there's no reason for a ghost like me to be here. It's not fitting for Horror Town." And then Lucy's like, "Are you kidding? This is a Horror Town. It's an appropriate place for us." It's like, "Really? You really want me here?" It's like, "Yeah, no doubt." And that's where it leads into Mist story, where he kind of explains the whole. Now it's just her and Mist living together, right? And she's coming to the realization, the exceptions that she's a ghost, right? And she doesn't want to move on. She just kind of lives there now. So that's kind of sad to think about, though, because it's like Terry's going to stay as a kid, and then Justin and Lucy will grow up unless they end up dying at some point. But, you know, it is a touching
It
story.
kind of reminds me of one. It kind of reminds me of that one skit from Robot Chicken where like kids are playing with Casper. It's like, oh, I wish we can play with you forever, and then Casper's like, no, you can't, and he holds out like a bottle of poison.
Yeah. Yay! Don't drink the
I can
Kool-Aid.
imagine
Don't
Terry
drink the
doing that
Kool-Aid
shit.
without me, folks. Folks. Oh, damn.
Like,
It reminds me of the Family Guy episode. It's like, oh, damn it. Who the hell? Wait, Meg is like, we need to come back here. I don't want to die alone. The man in white is coming back to put me in. But yeah, no. So they end up going exploring with that. Again, I will say this: I like Wolf's. Like I joke. Look, I joke about missed inclusion with the whole meme with the dog doing all that bullshit, and the kind of like, why dog? But I get it, okay? I get the story was nice. I'm glad that they finally had the person who actually adapted a book while also making it in their own original thing while also keeping true to the source material, right? Not copy paste
yeah,
like supposedly the other guy, right? So that's the one thing I liked about this one is that it's an interesting story. The one thing I didn't like about it is the fact that it landed on Halloween. So this would have been a great summer thing, but you know,
but delays.
yeah, shit happens. So we can't fault them on that. The fact that it came out at
Yeah.
all. I did not like the fact that Mr. Mortman was glitched. That we can play his
Oh
animation.
yeah, that shit was fucked
And
up.
I'm
Like,
annoyed that perhaps he was the one who actually had an animation task. And by the way, this second part didn't have a lot of animations in the first one did. In fact, they had less. And
yeah.
the one thing I liked though was one of the animations with Marty, with the ghosts, with the sandcastle monster. I was
Oh
surprised
yeah,
when I
the
saw that. I was like,
sand.
"Whoa, okay, that's cool." All right, I'm not upset anymore.
I like how I really like how the sand sculptures are just basically the snowmen.
Yeah, that's the thing. I even pointed out too. I kind of was just like showing, like in my video clips, I showed out just like I point out all the snowmen. Like the first part I even did, or the second part to the first part to the second part. I know it's confusing to say, but during that part, I actually went ahead and kind of showed off the snowmen these were based off of, right? It'd be like, oh, this is the snowman they were basing it off of, right? But they made it its own thing. Like they basically took the skeletal structure of an item, even like again, I joke when I say, wait a minute, this item's from her Oasis and Adams, right? But they didn't just copy pasted it like some other fucking people do. They actually went to the extra effort and be like, okay, let's take this, but then we just changed to be more summery theme or fits to the Horrorland scene, right? Which is like what I fucking like. That's good good cost efficient measures, but also makes it seem like it actually fits the game and make it new, right? Even though it's not. So although I joke about pointing things out like that, it's not awful at the same time. It's just funny when he points shit out. That's why I was joking about thinking that BIM was the horror Weirdos Halloween was going to be the Halloween update because they did an Adams Halloween with aliens, so I thought that would be a great cost efficient measure. Just take shit from there and put it into here and add new items too, right? Like, and here's
Yeah.
the other thing too I wanted to note ever since they did the Battle Pass thing, they've been introducing a lot of animated items. Have you noticed that?
I really like that because we had like a severe lack of animated.
Yeah, and it's nice too because even when the game is loading in, those things stand out like a sore thumb. Like they don't ever go away.
Yeah,
They always stay there.
like the George in the box.
Yeah, or this case they had the giant pool party with the octopus and the ghosts. With the ghost
Yeah,
things. I love that. And then the ghost picnic. So it's just fun. It's great. And then Miss the dog is adorable. Like he's a fluffy boy. I'll say that. But and
for
and
me.
I'll say this: if they are true to their word, he is a brave dog. He did not get scared by the one a true egg monster. So that's a thing to note. So he doesn't get scared. He's not like Scooby.
I mean, they're really cute. How can you be scared by them?
Yeah, no, but I joke about it. I use they're the best as far as things go because their scare animation takes so long that they can actually go ahead and keep scaring the same person over and over again.
Right.
So that's why I use them for. That's why I particularly use them, not just because I love, like again, I love them, but I also use them because they're very efficient because of how long their scare animation takes. So, because the weird animation of them going after the next person type of thing is there. And the other weird thing that happened during this update is we got a year extension that ended early. Yeah. So I usually like to count down my clocks before it ends and then be like, well, that's it. And then I click off and it's like, oh, it's disappeared. But it didn't do that. It didn't show up. I'm like, okay, well maybe it's delayed. And all of a sudden it just goes to 52 weeks. It extends it to another year. It's like, oh, cool. We get an extension. But after I post that online, they fixed that 2 days later, and I'm just like, oh.
Oh damn!
They
I
could have
guess
just
I could have finished
look.
the
They could
story
have just
then.
I know. I get it. I know it wasn't gonna last for a year, but they could have just left it until like the next update happened, like which by the way, as of the time of this recording, which is in November the 23rd. Yes, November the 23rd. They made the announcement to the social officially that they're like, yes, a Christmas update's coming, so stay tuned for December. Now, they say they want to do it for December, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen in December. It could be a fucking January or Valentine's Day special, for all we know. But fingers crossed, it does land on the December, because at least we lost Halloween, but we can at least get a proper Christmas update after 3 fucking years. Let's hope, anyways. But yeah, as far as this update concerned, I think they did a good job. I feel like second part was a little bit lacking compared to the first part, but I did like how they fleshed out the story. Mind you, I was kind of skeptical at first with the whole thing of like why he wanted to do what he did, but then I was like, okay, I see where you're going with this. I'm kind of sad we didn't get Harrison though. I really wanted the joke of I'm not a ghost. Draw 25 cards. But
You're the ghost. It's like, what? How am I the ghost? You're the ghost.
like
I'm not a
me
ghost.
specifically, I'm not a ghost. I make horses and ghosts and make types of ghosts, but I'm definitely not a ghost. And if you had reason to believe that say that I am indeed a ghost, that is wrong. Trust me.
Trust me, bro.
Yeah, I love the JonTron episode because he goes on point for him that is the worst episode on the Goosebumps TV series, is how bad acted it was. The
Yeah.
girl turn around 170 degrees the opposite, 270 degrees the opposite way rather than going to 90 degrees. It's like, why are you going around like that? It's like, God, oh my God, fuck. I can't. John, I'm frightened. Yeah. God, I was really like, again, this year it's interesting and disappointing at the same time because I wish there was more of this stuff, but I guess technically it's a lot more than last year because last year we only got like 2 official updates plus one book, and then no, we got 5 books altogether, but we got 2 proper updates and then one half-assed update. And then this year supposedly 4 main updates or event updates, as it were, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so we got that for ourselves. But yeah, as far as the whole ghost speech stuff is concerned, I think that's about it because I don't think there's much else to chat about. Because and unless I'm forgetting something, but I'm trying to think. Because I think we pretty much
Yeah, I don't think we're missing anything.
yeah, because I think we talked about most of what we wanted to talk about. I mean, I'm disappointed. Like, I'm glad. First of all, I was like Terry being a character. I'm like, okay, like whatever. But my biggest fear every time they introduce a hero character, aka a kid from the books, is that I don't want them to be fucking Connor, generic 2.0. They need to
Yeah.
stand the fuck out. Because if it's like why would we have this character when we could fill it out with the other characters like Lucy, Dustin, or all the other no names, you know. But it's like but it's true though, right? Because it's like you want them to stand out. It's just like if they introduce a character, like, and then I'm just like, that's why I'm kind of skeptical with this next update. I'm like, I'm hoping they do something original. Like, again, they did a good job with the story, but I'm kind of wondering how the fuck they're gonna incorporate this book into this Christmas, like as a Christmas update. And I'm scared that they're going to introduce the main character of that book in the game, and we're going to have a Jillian situation. But unlike Jillian, I have a way to combat that because I'm going to make this supposed character stand out. And again, I'll
Mhm.
go out to you behind the scenes because I don't want to spoil it here. By the time you watch this, it's probably out already, so you might know who it is. But I mean, assuming it came in time, but we don't know. It could be delayed for all we know. Hopefully not. Hopefully you're playing the fun update, the Christmas update this week, and it's great. And I'm hoping that Susie gets an animation, or else I fucking riot. I swear to God, you have a Christmas
Nice.
character. We gotta give her a look. You can make it premium, fine, fine. I can deal with that. But fuck, do not leave her out of this, please. She is a Christmas character for God's sakes.
She needs love and attention.
For Christmas, for crying out. It's Christmas, man. Where's the spirit?
It's Christmas, Mr. Scrooge.
Yeah, it's Tiny Tim. It reminds me of Tiny Tim from the from Futurama. You dashed my hopes to charity. Good job, sir. Yeah. But anyways, so we got that. So I guess with that, it comes to, I guess, the me section, right? Because I don't think there's anything else to talk about unless you want to bring something up that we might have missed.
I thought we were talking about the. Wait, I got confused. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, is there anything you want to talk about before we get to the me section? Like the all about me. This is a grim show now.
I got nothing.
Okay, well, like I said, folks, this is a two-part to a three-part series because we're going to continue off on the magnum opus from Vampire next episode, which will be. We'll talk more about this near the tail end of this episode, so stay tuned for that. But for now, the
Yes,
reason
stay
we're
tuned.
saying that this is a me episode is because not only is this going to be talking about my update that I have supposedly, but we're also talking about an update I had involvement with. That's right, we're talking about the shop till you drop dead.
Yay!
The update I made. Supposedly.
Yay!
Yeah, so this is quite interesting because if you are a fan of me, if you've watched this channel, you fucking know goddamn well what this is. It's like what have you not know about it, right? But if you
Where have you
haven't,
been?
yeah, where have you been? What rock were you living in? I want to live there. I'd like to not know this stuff, but yeah. But anyways, it would be interesting because this is the first time you get to interview an actual person, the designer of this game, in a sense. So Vampire can go ahead and
Ooh.
ask questions regarding this, and then I can go ahead and do this. But yeah, so I don't know how we should go about this because again, I talked a lot about this update, but supposedly we make this into like an interview type thing.
Okay. So I guess the first question I would ask is, how long in total did it take for the entire event to be finalized?
So this came about supposedly sometime around October of 2019. So this took at least 2 months to make because the first month is the concept era, like the designing of the idea. Then the month after November was the testing phase where you basically just kind of make sure the update works properly, that there's no bugs, that everything like all the assets is not, like so basically the assets and stuff get made and put all together, make sure it works. And then the day of December, that's when the update officially hits. So it's like a 2 month cycle for when I did it. I don't know how it is now. I don't know if they changed it, but that's how it's been for me. Is like there's 2 months to it. So the first month is planning, the second month is designing and slash getting all the assets ready, and then the last month is basically the release date.
So it just basically takes roughly around like.
Yeah, supposedly like around that time, like at least 2 months.
Okay. What would you say is the most difficult part about working on this event?
coming up with certain ideas that would make people want to play it, for one. Because for me, like I wanted to get items that people would like. And again, you have to think about it like this. This was coming off of like awful updates after awful updates in 2019, and then we had updates where we got items that were basically just we took it from Snoopy and we didn't do anything but change it. Like it was obvious at that point. So I was like, I wanted to actually make items that were not like we're from Snoopy, but we're actually designed to be different. So it's like new, right? Like what they did with the recent update we've talked about with Ghost Speech. So
Right.
that was somewhat difficult. The other difficult part was coming up with a story because this was the first time I'd done this. So I came up with this big juicy story, and they're like, "This is great, but we need to cut all this fat out." I was like, "Okay, do it like this." It's like, "Okay, cool. Just edit a little bit more. There you go. You're all done." So that was the other hard part was trying to come up with a story while also keeping to the restraint of the realistic of we only can do this many episode or this many story quest lines, so you're gonna have to make it fit within this limitation. But that's the fun part too, is to work with that limitation because it gets more creative juices going. It's like, okay, instead of this long extravagance point, let's try to focus in on trying to get it to that middle, like to get it to that section we want, right? This point on point type of thing.
Right. Um, the next question I would probably ask is, what is your favorite part about this event?
Being able to actually see people's reaction to this update when it finally came live, but also the design process of being able to put in certain references and clues in there, like having Mortman point out the fact that the promenade kept on getting the most attention out of every fucking time things happen. It's like, why is it always happening on the promenade? It's just like you need to have a character to just point out that shit. It's just like it's funny part, and then just kind of the whole Goosebumps lore. And just to have fun with this concept because I wanted to have an idea of like this making fun of consumerism and the whole Black Friday slash sales type of thing while also keeping it like not Christmas at the same time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You said that you had to make like original designs, right?
Yes.
What was your favorite design?
So are you talking about as far as like actual decoration items concerned or like are you like with characters or just anything?
We can do multiple answers if you want,
Okay.
like from each category, ranging from decorations to crafting items to
Okay.
buildings.
I love what I did with some of the decoration, the actual crafting stuff, where I've referenced certain things like the Goosebumps board game. I think it was
Yeah,
Escape from the Graveyard or whatever you call it.
Terror
And
the Graveyard.
yeah, Escape from the Grave. Yeah, so that game. I also did Monkey Ape Chimes or Blaster Ape Chimes, which is basically referencing the Attack from the Silver Screen, I think it was, or Invasion of the
Oh,
Silver Screen.
Invaders from the Big Screen.
Yeah, the big screen. That's it. Yeah. So we got that
Yeah,
going
Invaders
on
from the
there.
Big Screen.
And then we got references of that thing as well when it comes to the giant inflatable gorilla. So we got
Yeah,
little references to other
massive.
books at the same time. I love the idea of like being able to like, well, I mean, I'm throwing this out there, but I love the little references of like pointing out the whole, yeah, we were supposed to get like the only other Christmassy book, which was the 12 Screams of Christmas, but I'm like, nah, let's just make a little reference of it, but with
Yeah,
the gift card, with the Christmas card, as well as the whole with the comment with Reggie makes, and then I just love the idea of designing Reggie as well, just the whole snobby kind of like rich kid type character that looked like he's wearing rich clothes with the colors of being green like money, and just
yeah,
this whole like and also keeping true to the story well like that was the other thing about this that was fun was trying to keep it like make a fun story which is original but also keep true with the book it's sourced upon, right? Because in the book,
Right.
Reggie's supposed to be this kid who just fucking talks shit. And he's like, oh, my dad used to do that. Like tells fucking tall tales. Like, yeah, okay, fine.
Right.
Yeah, sure, Reggie, sure, right? So I want to keep true with that fucker, with him lying about certain things. Like, oh, I'm just trying to protect you kids because of the monsters that live in the monsters that were in there, right? And he's like, yeah, I love that my cut content is like, you said there were monsters in there. Yeah, they're monster shopping. It's like, yeah. So he's not lying. Yeah, but then he
I
goes
think
on
one
and
of my
says,
favorite.
we actually had gargoyles and that can turn you into statues, and it's just like that's a reference to another book. So it's just like again these references, these little nuggets of like going, ooh, I know that, pointing that whole Wojak pointing meme. It's just like I know that reference. Be a fan.
I think I think my favorite design was the laugh.
The Laugh-O-Matic, yes. I love that too because you pointed out it's like, hey, someone copied the Laugh-O-Matic thing, and I'm just like, well, no, two minds think alike. As I've learned, we both have similar tastes because I ended up showing you how I made my thing in the document in one of my videos, and it's just like this
Yeah.
this weird fucking contraption of like taking Photoshop items and just kind of putting them together. It's like this is what I wanted to look like. This werewolf hand, a spring, and this box with a happy face on. And they ended up just taking that and going, okay, I get it. All right. But yeah, the whole Laugh-O-Matic thing was just because of the whole one of the endings you get from going after Reggie the monster was tickling him, right? It's like fucking tickle me Elmo. So, kind of going about that. Speaking of Tickle Me Elmo, one of the designs for the Were Teddy was a Tickle Me Elmo box, right? Which was
Yeah.
fun. And yeah, this is the design. Everything about the designs I had loved. Like the whole, like again, I gave them a concept and they fucking nailed the execution, right? Like Reggie, I wanted him to be a Krampus monster because I thought what would be opposite to Santa would be that of a Krampus. So of course I was going with Krampus. I had to bring up the Krampus movie, so I had references like the Were Teddy being like from that movie, and then something with the line of like when Santa gives, Krampus takes away, because that was also part of that movie. So little nuggets like
Yeah.
that, and then also like things from the Grinch is like there's one little teeny tiny thing for Christmas I enjoy, but it's quite meaningful. That stupid lines, and the stuff, and also the rhyming. Also, that was fun trying to come up with stuff like that because I was like, how the fuck am I gonna make this work? Because normally when it comes to shit like this, they always rhyme, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that was one of those things I had fun with. So that's that. The other thing I actually loved about this update was the idea behind the spawn scene, because I wanted the spawn scene to be the Mayfield Bazaar itself because, and the way they made Reggie as the monster, I think fit the bill. Like they basically took the concept from Craig White's, I think that's his name, the design from the cover, and basically turned that into like merged him with Krampus, right? So it kind of fits well. And they also made the mannequins look fucking deranged. Like the heads are basically backwards and things don't look proper. Like, these things are these inanimate objects are advertising things, clothing lines on them, while also just like basically showing off that unlike say Reggie, no, not Reggie, sorry, Amazo, right, with his mannequin that he controls, that he
Yeah.
controls it so it acts more human. Meanwhile, these have no brains, so it acts deranged. This inanimate object that's kind of coming alive and tries to, act normal, but not really.
Yeah.
But the other thing too, with the design of the bazaar, was actually based off of a real life thing that I used to grow up with living towards. Like, if somebody lives in Toronto, they might be familiar with something called Honest Ed's. That thing is iconic for being a staple of Toronto's history way back when it comes to immigrants and all that. Like, there's a whole history behind it, but that building doesn't exist anymore, sadly, just because it was old and whatnot. But the sign that they had was so iconic. And the reason I wanted to do that as an inspiration because Honest Ed's was known for sales. They were known for giving out deals, kind of like how Walmart is, kind of considering like, oh, you can save on this much stuff. So it's like when you think of this whole story, it's supposed to be like, oh, you're saving on things, right? This to save. This because it's a deal. You want a deal, right? Meanwhile, you're paying for garbage that you don't really know. You're getting hypnotized to thinking that you're getting good deals, but really you're just getting ripped off. Which is based on true life, like real life situations. Because I came across this. This was an interesting story. This, by the way, this tactic is illegal to do. If you get caught, you can get fined. In America, it's the FTC that deals with this, but in Canada, it's someone else entirely. I think it's some other company, but it's kind of like the FTC of Canada, right? But anyways, HMTV when before that existed, they did this promo of like, oh, back to school sale, right? And they had these deals going on, right? But then I go ahead and look at the DVDs, and one of them being like a Big Bang Theory, just because at the time my father was a big thing on the show, and it was good for what it was, but I kind of fell out of it. Besides the point, I looked at it, it's like, oh, it's on sale. It has something percent off, and I'm looking at it, it's like it's the same fucking price that it was before. What they did was they raised the price and then lowered it to the price they were originally. So technically, it is 20% off from the high price they put on it, making you think you're getting a deal, but you're really not. That is
Oh.
yeah. So it's like tactics like that. So I wanted to bring that element into that, the evil side to consumerism, the commercialization of the holidays, as it were, right? The sad reality of it, right? And just the whole idea of like, oh, you get these toy products by just collecting items. That was the other thing too I loved about this, was being able to come up with the story explanation of what you're doing as far as crafting items go. You're not really crafting items, you're giving these items, these Christmas shit away to be able to get new crappy shit that is haunted in some cases, like the heart attack backpack.
Right.
Right, it's just like, I love it too. Dustin's like, I'm gonna play with my cool backpack. It's like that's a toy. Yeah. Yeah, this is funny like that. This stupid shit, you know. But I had fun with that, kind of coming up with ideas with that, especially with the lore and just having fun with having an Christmas story.
So, what would be the least favorite design?
The design I think I didn't like the most. I mean, what I would probably say, what I think I regret, was not designing a middle promenade area. The one thing I will give them credit for is that when it comes to the promenade, they made it unique by being the only promenade that actually allows you to actually walk on it. Because what they did was they put roads on the promenade. Normally you can't put roads on there, but they manually put it in there. So characters can actually
Yeah,
walk
I
on the
remember that.
promenade, which is great. But then if you fuck up and you actually decide to click off the promenade, it's like, well, fuck you. You can't have them anymore. So, oops. So
Oh,
that
wow.
was a design flaw there. But one of the downsides was that, you had the Mayville Bazaar, you had the Make a Monster site, and then you have this random Christmas house, just there. You don't know who it belongs to. It's just there, and I feel like I missed out on being able to design because I didn't realize I had to design something in for the middle. So if I knew that, I would have designed something that would fit the whole selling item, like the whole promoting Mayfield Bazaar in a sense, like making it more fake commercialism in a sense, right? And
Right.
you know, I feel like although I liked the grand prize being the Spirit of Christmas Tree Pass, I think is what it was called, but I like the design of it, like the whole like Christmas tree with make it look like a graveyard of sorts. I think
Yeah.
I would prefer if it was a little bit, it fit more with the theme to the whole shopping commercialism thing. Like I thought it would be, had I designed it now, I would probably design it to be more fitting with the whole like Mayfield, like deals, like maybe price tags and like mannequin body parts, and you know what I mean. It's kind of like make it feel like shopping carts probably with shit in there. Make it like Christmas tree makeup, but with garbage kind of sense, right?
Right.
But I think the design would be too much, so that was probably one of the least favorite of my designs. But trying to think, there must have been something else. Probably. Oh, the other thing I hated. I hated I didn't craft a proper currency. Instead, they decided to do another orb ball, which was something they
Oh, yeah,
did.
like an ornament.
Yeah, the ornament. They did that last time, but this one's a little bit
Yeah, with
different. But
the
it was
attack of the Christmas presents, eh?
yeah, yeah. But it was slightly different, but it was still a red ornament, right? I wish I knew I had to do that because I would have actually designed it better. I would have had it be like gift cards or something along the lines of like fucking the whole selling the idea of you're going to the shop, right? Like you're buying shit, right? You're buying shit with Mayfield bucks or something like that, right? So I would have had that be more of the currency versus just whatever, right? The one thing I love about that update, though, is the fact that afterwards I gave Mrs. Mar an animation. I gave Mortman an animation. I gave Shader an animation. And then I even gave Chris an animation, right? The Christmas, the Jingle Bell Rock. Santa is playing the guitar or whatever you call it, which is
Yeah, I
fun.
liked how he was like a washed-up musician that wanted to be like this guitarist, but had to get like a fucking Santa job.
That's what I loved. That's what I loved about it. It's like, oh, this is too good to have it not be an animation. So it's just Santa playing the guitars. It's like, yeah. But I love how after the event, they kept the shopping animation for Mrs. Dark as well as the animation for Mortman and I think also Shader. But Mortman and Dark particularly because after that, every time a new update hit in 2020, they recycled those animations all the time.
Yeah,
Mortman doing his directing part for the Phantom of the Auditorium is making his Christmas wish. Or
yeah,
Mrs. Dar shopping, it's like for Christmas presents, like you know what I mean. It's just like it's stuff like that. It's just like that kind of bring a smile to my face. It's kind of like, ah, yeah, that's kind of thing there, right?
right.
The one thing I will say though, when I saw, like, I didn't really see a whole lot of people talking about the update per se, but one thing I did like about it was I got to see Casey Loves Gaming talk about it because he was another person who kind of talks about this game, and I got to see his reaction to it, and I loved how when he got to the Goosebumps kiosk, he's just like, "Hey, that's cool. I like Goosebumps." The one thing I will say is that the design flaw I feel like I should have failed, like I wish could have went, was the Goosebumps welcome sign. At first, you might think that is a very weird name, but if you looked at my video talking about it, it explains what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be, you know how when you come to a town, there's like "Welcome to Blankville," right? Like those little signs. I wanted Horror Town to have that kind of sign, right? So I thought, why don't we do the Goosebumps Horror Town logo, but with a billboard type of thing? Turns out, can't do that because the way they flip things, they mirror it. So what happens is Goosebumps ends up turning into a weird G when you flip it, and that Goosebumps kiosk suffers the
Yeah,
same thing. So what they have to do is this chicken scratch in order to make sense of it. So instead, they basically took the artwork for the cover art and they kind of just made it into an advertise. So basically, my advertising is there in a sense, right? So and I didn't get to the properly design the tile art card, right? So, but they did a good job, I think, with what they did. But you know, it was interesting because they wanted to have a different idea. But again, I was new to it. I didn't know how the process worked, so I think as a first timer, I did a good job with it. But if I had the chance to do it again, I think I would have done it better. Like certain things to change, but for the most part, I think I liked what I did.
nice, nice, nice. I'm trying to think of any other.
Was there anything you liked from the update?
Um, Unfortunately, I didn't really play much of the events.
Well, did you get to buy the books of it? Because it came back as a special book.
Yeah, I did. My memory about it is a little bit foggy, but
I love how I ended up bringing um, Courtney back into the game. I had her have an
oh yeah,
animation as well. Yeah, because we recently got introduced to Courtney that year, and she was an honorary member of the Many Mysteries Club, and I was like, oh, we should have her be part of this mystery type thing. And she had a bigger role, but was kind of cut out. But I thought, she'd make sense to be kind of like the person that sees something is wrong kind of thing.
yeah.
I love the dialogue too with some of them. It's just like must buy clothes. It's like, okay, that's weird. Megan doesn't like usually do that, but okay. And I love Mortman turned into a fucking Karen right now. It's like, I spent how much? Where's the manager?
Oh my god! Like okay. I don't know if you've watched South Park at all, but
Yeah, I
there's like
remember.
this one episode.
Yeah, with
There was
him.
like this.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. The Marsh being a Karen.
Yeah, it just reminds me of that, like to a T.
Yeah, I just remember that. I even gave like when he came back with the special, I put a Karen hair on him. I speak for your manager. Yeah,
Let me speak to the manager. It
yeah.
does like this fucking uh, what was that game? Skyrim, like Dragon Call or something.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
The
Yeah.
Usro Doth cry, I think it was. Yeah.
Oolada! Yeah, it's certainly interesting, but yeah, I love the idea of putting that section. And you might be thinking, why did I do that rather than say the Christmas the actual Christmas book, which is like 12 Skins of Christmas. I'll be honest, at that time I had no idea what to do. I had no idea how to make that book work. So I was like, all right, let's do something I knew I had an idea on, which was the Stop Till You Drop Dead. And I'm glad I didn't do that one because we ended up getting an update that was great that we will be talking about next time. But we will hold off on that for
Yes.
now. That has its own separate because it has somebody special. But we'll talk about that uh, in due time. In good time. Don't worry, it will come soon. But yeah, yeah, I
Did you
love
have?
the. Sorry,
I was gonna say, did you have any like, event or?
what do you mean?
I guess I guess the better question would be like, you know how they sell the character or like yeah, they sell the characters for a certain price. Did you have any like say on what the appropriate price should be, or
No,
was that not
that
your?
was the only thing I did not touch was the marketing, the price stuff because I was just like, oh, I can't, I don't know too much. That's too much for me. So I gave him the artwork, I gave him the concept, and he's like, good enough. I can do the rest. I can put
Um,
numbers in there. I can do that. That's easy. The making up stuff, that's hard. You know.
there's other stuff that's
To
difficult.
be fair though, during that time, they had Wonder Park, they had Snoopy, they had the new game Adams coming out. Plus, they had, I think, like they had lots of games at that moment. So they were like, "Fuck, I can't be dealing with this right now." So it's
Right.
like, "What? You want to do it?" I'm like, "Sure." It's like, "Okay, here you go." So I'm kind of glad I got that opportunity. To be fair, when I first talked to the guy who originally was there, I think Nash, what he went by, he was kind of like it was interesting because he actually talked to me. He's like, "Hey, just to let you know, I'm Nash. I kind of am the content director for this game. If you ever want to come up with an idea, you can be free to do so." And I'm just like, "Oh, thanks," but like again, I was so new to it because it was like beginning of 2019. I was like, "Oh, thanks," but even then they were kind of like, "Yeah, you want to come up with an idea? Just let us know," and we'd be like, "Yeah, sure, let's roll with it." All right, but I was
God
given
damn, I'm
a
envious now.
I
I
was
wish
given
I
a
was given
unique.
that
I know.
opportunity.
I was given a unique position, let's say, And then afterwards, I got in touch with the guy who was designing for 2020, and because of that, I ended up helping with some stuff in there and kind of shaped some things around. So the story for the well, the web qual like me and Erasmo, I should say, were helping him with some stuff, like coming up with ideas and whatnot. And some of the ideas I ended up suggesting ended up coming into the game, like Faraday's look, for example, the story, how the it came from the internet shaped up, which is an update we'll talk about in the future. I had to help a hand with. So
Nice.
again, some of the idea stories ended up but I didn't have I didn't design everything, but I had help in hand in some things, and that is why me and Erasmo's character was portrayed in the awful update, which is Be Afraid, Be Very Afraid. Our avatars,
Right.
as it were, went in there because it was a little thank you for assisting me. Here you go. And then they ended up leaving a thank you with giving us the shitty character of Zawid, and then we actually got a good character, which was Count Nightwing. Before that ended up being the last update before the horrible time of 2021, the end times.
Kind of just wishing it was on a better update, you know.
Yeah, it'd be funny when we actually talk about in-game updates, like actual proper updates, like the main ones. But we might do that in the near future. But for now, it seems like events seem more fun for now.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm trying to think if there's any other things to talk about from that. Like the story, I had fun with too, just the whole curly rhyming thing, because it's like, it's a typical thing for Christmas to do the rhyming shit. So it's like, I gotta do that. And then, of course, I love how Snappy was so annoyed by that. And then they brought that back for the cringe update of Valentine at Poison Lake. Which was a surprise to me.
Oh
They
yeah.
ended up bringing that up. It's like, oh, great. They made that into a thing. So it's now canon. Slappy hates rhyming.
That's canon now.
Oh, can you say it's canon now?
That's
Again,
canon
it's a
now.
Tales of a Terria joke from the last video.
God.
I was like, dead Mimsy. Jesus, that's dark. Can
Dead
you say it's
fancy.
canon now? Oh, yeah, I think that's how it goes. And he took
Uh,
trying to laugh one off.
uh,
Yeah, that's funny, but yeah, but it's canon now. Um, yeah, it's funny though because of how the whole story was shaped up, like how things. I love how I did a reference for one of the Christmas. I think it was. I want to say 2022 is when I did that video where I basically went ahead and showed you the background, the special features, as it were, of
yeah.
how this update was made and the story originally, and you got to see, oh, so that's why it was kind of like that's why he's involved. That's why this whole thing was kind of shaping it up because of how I was thinking, right? So it is quite interesting how that kind of turned about. But yeah, it's still a fun update. I'm glad I got the opportunity to do that. It was a special moment. And that's why I'm so connected to this game. Like, that's why, even if I hate this game, I still have an obligation to still play until it's officially dead, because I have such a DNA tied to it. So it's like, I have no choice but to be part of it now. I'm just the horror
But
film guy.
but I don't think you actually hate it. That's silly.
No, I don't. I mean, if I hate, you would be obvious when I hate it, right? Because I'd be bored. See, even the updates that I did not like, which we might talk in the future, like one supposed update with a dummy, I actually did find that fun because it's like I said, if it's bad, it's like, oh boy, I'm eating good tonight. I get to have fun with making jokes.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the worst is when I'm playing it and I have nothing to say, and it's just obvious. That's when it's boring. That's when it's bad, right?
Right.
But it hasn't gone to that point yet.
Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully. We kind of got close though with how bad the vampire one was, though. Have we talked about that yet?
Oh,
No, we haven't.
yeah. We
We talked.
haven't.
No, I don't think so. We talked about we talked about the dead house one, but we didn't talk about
Right.
Please Don't Feed the Vampires just yet. That might be in the future, so yeah, look forward to that whenever we do get across
Yeah.
the bridge, because that one is an
We'll get to
interesting
that.
thing.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, as far as the Christmas update goes, I'm glad that I again had involvement with it and how it's shaped up. I did find enjoyment. There's again some things I wanted to change, which I told you about, which I wish I could, but mostly I'm satisfied with what was the end result, basically. Like again, my I wanted to bring creepy Christmas into the game, and I think I did a good job because the first Christmas we had, it wasn't really creepy Christmas. It was just more, oh, Christmas, right? Because some of the items they brought in was more not really scary.
Yeah, I think it was mainly to introduce the crafting portion of the events.
Yeah, we'll talk about with that update when we get to it eventually, but I'll hold off on it for now just because, again, it's just one of those, it has its own unique interests and whatnot, but I will say I did enjoy how that first iteration of Christmas was handled. I think they did an interesting job with it and also did references to a particular website. But, you know, we'll get to there when we get to there. But again, yeah, I think that's about it because I don't know what else to talk about with. Oh, I guess one
I
last.
mean, if anybody else has any questions, they could just shoot it off in the comments.
Yeah, then
We
we'll
feed
do.
on your interaction.
We'll do that then. I guess if there's any questions, you can leave it on there. One thing we'll end it off before we continue for our next adventure is that one thing I did like was one of the things I was annoyed by was the fact that we weren't getting animations for the monsters form for characters because we had these characters in their monster form in the spawn scene, but we never got to have the spawn scene after, so you didn't get to see the monster form at all, right? So I wanted to make sure for Reggie that if we never got the Ray Mayfield Bazaar, that we'd still have Monster Reggie. So I had to do an animation with him having a presence and just kind of shaking it like a big child.
Right.
And by the way, his monster form in the game looked so weird. Not a bad weird,
Yeah,
but it's just interesting looking.
I mean, yeah.
But it shows you that there's two different people, like people designing the character in-game models and then the person who designed the actual game files. And it's interesting too how they design these characters because they actually draw them and then they kind of turn them into puppets and then that puppet gets animated and then that ends up becoming the whole how they will look kind of thing. One glitch I will say that they ended up fucking up on though, and I don't know who did this, but pay attention if you have Reggie in your game, pay attention to this, but when he's walking in front of the camera, so basically when he's walking, I think down and left, I think this is how, no, down and right is he's facing the camera, right? And then when he goes
Yeah.
up and left is when he's facing behind the camera. His sleeves go from being long sleeves to short sleeves when he switches different positions
Oh.
because they somebody fucked up on that one. I don't know why, but they ended up doing that. And I'm just like, oh boy, someone fucked up on that department. But it's like, oh, whatever. It's like a little detail that the little defect that you don't really pay attention to, and hence why it got looked over, like it got missed, right?
Right.
But I noticed. I paid attention to that.
It's kind of like how, like, in sometimes, like, when I draw something in color and notice a mistake, I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like the only person who notices it, but everyone else is just like, oh, I do it, it bothers me.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I guess that's it for now. So, anything else to add before we continue on?
No, I don't really have anything right now.
Okay, well, that was our interview section for this game, and then probably the only interview section we'll ever get. So sadly, maybe in the future we might get somebody in the future, but I don't
Not
know with NDAs and whatnot, right? So, I mean,
well. I mean,
I
you
guess.
said you did have a hand in some of the spider stuff, so there might be some questions for that.
Okay, yeah, for 2020 stuff, we can talk about that, especially when it comes to the next update coming up. We can do that again. So, again, never say never. Again, my hand was in the cookie jar for most of 2020, so I can talk about that stuff for the most part.
Right.
So, all right, so we can do that then. But for now, let's just take a breather for a moment, and then we'll continue on for our main event, as it were.
Yeah.
Right, so this is going to be my version of a Christmas special in the sorts, although we've already seen how I did my first ever one. Now it's time for a redemption of sorts. Now then, I could have gone so many different ways with this. There were other books I could have done that I've debated of doing. One of which was what fun fact. I suggested this to the old director for the content director for this, and I thought we should probably have Cold Lake be an event for Christmas because I had an idea of how that could have gone about. It would be more of a winter holiday versus a Christmas holiday per se. But I didn't do that. I'm not doing that yet. And then I thought, well, maybe we can do Legend of the Lost Legend to have it be more of a paganistic holiday. But I didn't do that either.
I thought Legend of the Lost Legend was more Norse than pagan.
I'm sorry?
I thought Legend of the Lost Legend was more than pagan.
Well, pagan is in lores.
Is it?
Yeah. If you look into the history, it's very like Thor mythos, like, Viking history.
Oh,
They're
because
very
I always
pagan.
confuse pagans with like the Celtic traditions.
No, this is like paganism is it's a different type of whole. And to give a good example, look at The Simpsons. The Simpsons tapped out. One of their Christmas specials was actually a pagan holiday, so it's kind of like that. So it kind of falls into the whole Viking mythos. So that would have been more like the actual ancient Christmas, right? But I didn't do that either. Not yet, anyway. Maybe in the
Wouldn't that be
future,
the
but
winter solstice?
yeah, well, no, winter solstice is a whole different thing. But that could be a thing too in the future, but who knows? Anyways, I despise the point. That's not what we're talking about per se, and that's what I was not hinting at from the last episode. The last episode, if you actually listened closely, was a fan rendition of a certain song. And the song was from episode from Courage the Cowardly Dog. If you know the show and you hear this song, you knew exactly what episode I was taking this from. But for those who don't know or didn't realize what it was, here's where it's going to be explained to you. That song came from season 1, the last episode to season 1, the last segment to this season, which was entitled The Great Fusini. And for those who don't know what that episode was about, basically there was a traveling van that came into nowhere. Like I think that's where they live, right? No, middle of nowhere. Yeah, as it was in the middle
Yeah,
of
that's what
nowhere.
we call it.
So this alligator looking character with a little hat, and he's like, "I'm the Great Fusi," kind of talks like that, right? This weird accent to him, like I guess Italian is supposed to be what he was supposed to be about. So
Yeah,
he
it's
comes.
something similar to like Pinocchio or something.
Yeah, and this is where I'm getting at. So his shtick was he brought this traveling theater with him, and he's like, "Oh, come up and do an act for me." Right? Meanwhile, not what he realized is that the tragic masks, the happy and sad mask, right? I think that's what they call the tragedy masks. I think the art of
They're
tragedy.
theater masks, but
Yeah,
one
the theater
represents
mask of the
tragedy
art.
and the other one's
Yeah,
comedy.
yeah, comedy and tragedy mask. But anyways, that thing, the whole horror of this was the fact that this guy turns people into puppets. Jeez. What book features puppets, I wonder? There's only one.
And no, not the dummy books.
No, that's a dummy, not a puppet. I'm talking about but it has a similar title. I'm talking about Night of the Living Puppet People. That is the Christmas episode. How the fuck am I going to do that? You might be wondering. Well, listen in and I'll take it into you. And the reason I'm picking this episode is because one, I'm a sucker for puppets. I love me bum puppet. I love me mum Muppets, as you can probably tell from the episodes before, where we had fun with segments of, making fun of that. I also love Christmas Carol, their version of it in a way. But
Oh, the Muppets Christmas Carol.
yeah,
Yeah, that
with
I
the
love that one.
Austin Powers
That was a
father.
banger.
Yeah, I love it how Austin Powers father is in there as Scrooge. But But anyways, so yeah, this episode's gonna be interesting because I'm doing Night of the Living Puppy People, and you might be wondering how am I doing this. I'm gonna tell you about how I'm doing it. So this is where the idea comes from. So the reasoning I'm doing this is because I want to bring in a character from this book that's a bit of a lore building in the sense. Yes, the lore. The lore is building. And you'll be wondering why, but the character that's going to get introduced is the main villain, I guess, in this book, which is Edwardo Calbin? God, I don't know his last. I don't know how it's saying his last name. It's this Cal Eben. I know English. Please trust me. I know how my English speaks, but I know it's El Waldo, and it's Calb.
Me bad at English? That's impossible.
That's improbable.
No, it's
Improbable. Yeah.
impossible.
Look.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So his last name is Caleb is how it's spelled.
Calbe.
EB.
EB.
Yeah. So Caleb.
ALEB. What you
So it's
mean,
like
Caleb?
Caleb. Is that it? Eduardo Caleb. Caleb.
Yeah, that's Caleb.
Weird. Why is the English so weird language? Like you would say jalapeno, right? It sounds like it's an H. No, it starts with a J. Like the fuck kind of thing is that?
Well, technically, jalapeno is a Spanish word, not an English word.
Shut up.
However, uneducated white people call it jalapeno.
Yeah, anyways, so we got Eduardo here. He's going to be our main character besides the no-name characters of our Connor in a sense, right? Like I think it was twins. And is it twins? No, I don't know. I don't remember the book very well. I mean,
So,
oh,
oh wow, this is going to be
oh,
great then.
oh, what's this now? We're not playing with the book's logic? It's like, mm. Look, sometimes you can take source materials and not everything gets adapted, okay?
Pulls out the popcorn. This ought to be good.
Okay, yeah. Oh, drama. It's a next picture of the Michael Jackson with the popcorn. It's like, I'm eating good tonight. Anyway,
Yeah.
anyways, so this Eldorado character is gonna be
Eldorado.
a Eric Avaby situation where he's gonna go as Eduardo, as his last name as well, which is Caleb, but he's someone else entirely, and you won't know who he is exactly until you buy him, and at the end of the update per se. So be on the lookout for that. I will talk more about that when we get to that section, but for now, let's talk about some of the stuff. So first of all, what does he come in? He comes in something called Eduardo's wagon. And you might be wondering, a fucking wagon? What do you mean a wagon? Well, you know how those traveling... Yeah, he comes in a little red wagon. No, but the wagon in the sense of that it's actually one of those, those traveling wagons, like like I would imagine it like a puppet theater, but in like a old horse timey wagon type stuff. Or what do you think of a sake salesman? You know how they have those portable wagons?
I kind of like reminded myself of those old circus wagons, you know?
Yeah, kind of like, I guess in a way, kind of like with how Barbarous had hers, but not
Yeah.
circus theme, but more puppet theme. Like probably like as you suggested, like the guy from Pinocchio.
Stromboli.
Stromboli! Yes, I love him. Yeah, that asshole. Anyways, I don't know if he would look like him. I don't know. Like, again, here's disclosure, by the way. I might be describing things, and Vampire might be describing things, but know that when you see the image at the final end of this, that this is not the final. Like, we talking about this is our basically speculation of what it's going to look like. At the end, what you're seeing is how we ended up designing it as. So, for example, the last episode, we were like, it's the double dip horror, I think it was called, right? The ice cream
Yeah, the
thing.
double dip horror.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's gonna look like the living cream, but no, instead it's like the Monsterated, but a banana split. Like, it's like, yeah, no, you would describe it as. No, shut up. That's how it
Yeah,
is.
that's something we
Basically,
forgot to bring up like earlier in this episode, but I guess we didn't.
oops, so they got to do it now. So whatever. So yeah, so that's the context of this stuff. So when we say certain things, just know that they don't end up looking like exactly how we're describing it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So there's your disclosure. There's a disclaimer that do
Yeah.
not take what we say in the podcast and what you see as fact. You know. So yeah,
Take what we say with a grain of salt. It's
yeah.
like, oh yeah, you say it looks like that. Oh yeah,
But you
sure,
lie.
okay.
You lie. My eyeballs see something different than what you say. Yeah, but
It's like what else?
yeah. So it'll be fun to see how much Vampire does or what he comes up with for the time limit that we got. But he's gonna get paid well. Don't worry. My wallet's full and ready. It knows what it's gonna be doing. It's gonna be punished.
Yeah, it has. I can imagine your wallet has like fucking battle armor. It's like, all right, which is another.
I'm ready for this shit. Yeah. Yeah, my wallet is certainly like I'm glad I have a job. This is a hobby, so I make money off the side of my hobby, which is nice. But my job helps pay for all the fun stuff, so that's what funds the episodes, sadly. So, anyways, so he got his wagon, which is as I described it. So now we move on to the crafting shop, which before I go ahead and tell you what it is, you want to give a guess what it might be?
um, uh, crafting. Hmm. Uh,
You can say pass if you
it
don't
has.
know.
I was gonna say it has. You know what passes? I don't know.
Okay. I won't put you on the spot. So it's called the Mayfield's Arts and Crafts. Yes, because the Mayfield.
Oh, we're bringing Reggie back into this,
We're
aren't
bringing
we?
Reggie back into this shit. Yeah, he has a side hustle now. So yeah, so
That's
you
a
think
side
of
hustle. Oh.
think of a shop like Michael's. If I don't know if Michael's is a Canadian thing, but up in Canada we have this thing called Michael. Isn't it American as well?
I think they have a Michaels in America.
Okay, I'm
I
gonna
mean, I don't
assume
know
they
why,
do. But if you
but
don't know
I
what
feel
that
like they
is, if you don't know what it is, it's an arts and craft shop. Okay, that's like when you buy artsy fartsy stuff. Like you want to buy artwork, like not artwork, but pencils, ink, things like wool
art
and stuff.
supplies, basically.
Yeah, art supplies. That's what it is. Not a mom and pop shop, but more of a corporation arts and craft shop, if that makes sense. So yeah, so
This is where you're. This is where you get your quality or limited edition big sniff pencil or your scented markers
get
by
high on
Crayola.
that. Get high on that. That's the next drug coming up. Getting high on
Yeah,
markers. What pick your
getting
flavor?
high off of grape markers.
Get what your flavor? Pick your flavor poison. Mmm, cockroach flavor. The monsters love that. Yeah, the monsters love eating cockroaches. Apparently, that's like the bug food that they eat. Mm. Um, yeah,
Well, I
so,
mean, it is commonly used in the fucking the
yeah,
diner.
yeah.
So yeah.
I know. It's the normal item you get from the dumpster. They have so much cockroaches, they don't know what to do with it. They just eat them. Put them in cans. Why not?
But I wish I had monsters to take care of that for me.
Yeah, I know. They would be nice. But that's the other thing too with Mortman. It's just like honestly, he's not a bad guy. He's just like he likes his library, he eats bugs. So it's like, okay, whatever. Like he's not harm. I hang out with
Yeah,
him.
and he keeps to himself too, so he doesn't like being bothered.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Look, he did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. It's the kids who's wrong. It's like, am I at fault?
Even
No,
if you think
it's
he
the children
did,
who's
he's
wrong.
innocent.
Yeah, am I at fault in this? No, it's the children who's wrong. Am I at fault? No. Anyways, yeah. So I'd be curious to see if you end up actually coming across, like, actually making a Mayfield arts and crafts shop. But if not, it's okay. But again, we'll see how much stuff we get done, and we'll show up what we can.
Yeah.
If we don't show anything, that means we didn't get it done. So just use your imagination. Because I'm too lazy to show you a picture. I don't want to do that. I will show you arts that
Oh no,
Vampire made.
Grim is too lazy to pull off images from Google.
Yeah, I did that earlier.
Don't make him put in
earlier
too much
this year.
work.
Yeah, I did earlier this year. I have too much work. I got an artist who can draw me cool stuff. I pay him good
Right.
money. Right. So, anyways, then we get our event currency, which is going to be called, which is the puppet controller. And if you don't know what that is, so basically the design of it, what I imagine is it's basically a puppet hand holding a controller. The controller itself, this is what it's called, by the way. You know those mannequins or what do you call marionettes that when you control them, that they have those like sticks? That's called a controller.
Yeah.
So when I say puppet
I
controller,
know that.
yeah, so when I say puppet controller, that's what I'm talking about. It's like basically a Pinocchio hand holding a cross, basically a plus sign, a wooden plus sign.
Wait, you're telling me that this is a currency?
Yes.
Not gonna lie, I was kind of expecting that to be a crafting item or maybe even a raw item. I wasn't really
All
expecting
right.
that.
Well, we can switch it around then if you want, because I can tell you what I had originally for the raw item, because maybe this will make more sense for an event currency then. So puppet controller could be the actual stupid me. That's the event current. That's the raw item we get. Okay. The event currency, not the raw item, is called the magic thread, which is a roll up string with a metal stick pin or stitch pin.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. So originally I had that for a raw item, but we can have that more as the event currency then. And then the puppet controller could be the crafting then.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do that then. So that's what we're doing now. So we're working.
Well,
What?
I was gonna say that's what we say that's what we're doing.
Yeah, we might have a totally different thing. You might have might have something completely different. It's like, whoa, you got this Pinocchio head there. What the hell is that all about? Well, I think we decided we just thought Pinocchio head was better as a crafting item. Not that it's going to be that way, but you never know. Things can always
you never
happen.
know.
Things can
That's
always.
why we have the disclaimer.
Yeah. So okay. So I guess we get to my stuff again. Vampires, what he does is crafting is more of how the event is set up now. My crafting is how I think it should be set up and much better. I think much better as crafting, but that's just me. But
I mean, that kind of hurts, but
not
it is
you. I'm not saying it like as a bad thing to you. I'm saying it as for the companies because it's like fucking hell. Like I suggest them a good idea and they're like, nah, we'll do this instead. Two crafting items.
we're doing the same thing that Playboy Vampire is doing right here. We're just gonna stick to that formula because it's easier. Because
Because fuck
it's
you.
easier.
Because fuck you. I love it too, by the way, that after the event ends, you can go to the pier for the ghost beach, and you got to see not only the old part 1 items, but also part 2 items at the same time. It's like, that's so weird to see. That's something I forgot to mention. It's just like very interesting to see that happen. It's like, whoa, cool. We got 2. Oh, this is a big crafting area. It'd be interesting whenever it comes back as a full book, but maybe not. But we'll see. Anyways, so we got our first section here is what I call the hand puppets. I guess wonder that was all about, but and these are going to be references, by the way. I'm hoping that when I describe it comes true, but sometimes things can change as we've mentioned that we disclosed before. So viewer discretion is advised.
Don't expect 100% results, but
yeah, exactly. So anyways, I'm just charging my pad so it doesn't die here. So, anyways, so it's called the hand puppets. So the first part of this crafting is, mind you, this is going to be using the controllers as we've basically described. So I think 3 controllers for all these, right? Besides the final crafting, which will be the 3 big items, right? So, anyways, so the hand puppets, the first one is called Fuzz and Stuff, and it's going to require the controllers as well as the blobs. And it's going to be a box full of furs. So basically, imagine like different kinds of like patterns, like like animal. It could be animal furs, but kind of like fuzzy furs, like colored.
Wait, blob?
A blob, yeah, the blobs.
How come you don't use like the fake hair or the stuffing?
Because I didn't think that. Because I was thinking like the developers. I was thinking that, well, they're not going to get that ahead, so we don't want to give them an item that's too far in advance. So let's give them items that it's crafting now at level 5, which is blobs. So no, but okay, let's just say fur. Fine, the fake hair. Why not that for the fur
Yeah,
stuff?
because
So
we even have characters that give out the fake hair, so
yeah, okay, so we'll do that then. If you're not high level, too bad. You can't play this update. Sorry.
wow.
You gotta be up to the you can't scare me bit or else too bad. So anyways, so we got that. So that's self-explanatory. The next thing is googly eye jars, which is gonna be the controllers as well as the tin cans. And there's a jar full of
Right.
different eyes. So, those different puppet eyes you would imagine, right?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so that's you're no objections to that right now?
Uh, nope.
Okay, good.
Googly eyed.
I just want to make sure. I want to make sure I'm on the right track because I don't want to be pointed out again and be like, "Oh, it doesn't make no sense." How can you craft blobs with fur? Makes no sense. We got this. Mind you, this is not the only thing. Pixel is being accused of this as well recently with their event currently. Like as we speak, it's November, so right now it's December, so it makes no sense. But November's update, which was Thanksgiving, they had this whole thing where it's like, oh, crafting these special items. It's like cranberries. You use fucking squash and whatever. And this is like, well, we have cranberry bush. Why can't you use that? It makes more sense, but nah. No, so, I'm just saying you're not exclusive here, right? So you can point out the logics if you want. So, anyways, to finish this whole crafting thing up, so you take Fuzz and Stuff, googly eye jar with the controllers to make something called the Educated Monster, which is a Sesame Street looking Muppet monster. And I think if you want to be easy on this, you could just take Eric's monster form. That's good enough. Because he looks like a Sesame Street monster. Does he
I
not?
mean, yeah,
He
he
does. So it
does.
makes it easy. That's an easy design. It's like, yeah, imagine Eric's monster form as a puppet. So like one of those hand puppet things. Not a hand puppet, but you know what I mean, like the actual Muppet, like a Cookie Monster.
Yeah, Muppet.
So you get that idea, right? So anything for that, or you're good.
I wouldn't say we could try it like creating a original character, but then again, through some of the other updates, like the shop till you drop one, they had to use the uh,
In-game stuff, yeah.
Yvonne, the Yvonne model for the vampire doll.
I love that too, by the way. They just took the vampire model and just stuck her in a fucking coffin and be like, oh, there we go, all done. Like, design a box that's kind of like this. Oh, I know. I'll just copy and paste it, by the way. And here's the other fun fact, too, I forgot to mention. I know we're going back and forth with this, but welcome to the podcast. This is what we do. So,
Yeah.
with the Mayfield Bazaar, the scare scene item, which was the shopping bag or haunted shopping bag, I think that's what it's called, a haunted shopping bag. with the ghost
Yeah.
flame and all that. The logo, I think I pointed this out during the special, but in case, the logo I made for that fucking bag, I made out of like just necessity. Like I just thought, what would be an interesting bag for like a Mayfield Bazaar? What would the logo look like? And I kind of, okay, this is what the logo would look like, right? Just imagine this as a bag kind of thing. You know what they did? They took the fucking logo and put it on the bag, and they're like, there you go, all done. So they took my logo and put it on the bag.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So it's like that's so weird to look at my design. But I say it's my design, but really I just kind of went on Google and been like, this looks a good design, and I just kind of did my fucking amateur um editing skills and be like, oh, done. Good enough. But yeah. But they decided to like it, so there we go. So I guess we go to the next one.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm hoping that you're liking these designs so far. I think you might like this one, though. So the next one is called Elegant Dancers.
Is that the next crafting set, or?
The next crafting set's what I call the Elegant Dancers.
Okay.
So, first crafting is called Paper Flakes, which is going to require the puppet controller as well as snowballs.
Ooh, okay.
So you either play the Abominable Snow Monkey scene, or you get dead what's his name, Dana. Help drop that shit.
Cryogenic freezer, if you will.
Yeah, the Dana he did bit. Yeah, the fake skeleton he has
Yeah.
in the fucking freezer. Scares kids. Ah, kill the kid. Anyways, so
Dr. Dre killed him.
it's a paper. Imagine like a paper snowflake with scissors. So like scissors cutting out like an actual snowflake, kind of like you know how it is. Like when you make snowflakes, you kind of do those weird folding paper.
Yeah.
So I imagine something like that, but it could be like a generic snowflake. But
I mean, I can imagine like a reference Nightmare Before Christmas.
that too. That can also work too. Or you can do Edward Scissorhands as well, if you really want to.
I mean,
If you,
balls of my cord on that one.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you want to be very creative on that, hell, it could even not be even that. It could be something completely different. It's like, what the fuck is that? That's not what it's described as. But again, whatever vampire decides at the end of the day, he's getting paid regardless.
I have creative liberty.
Yes, creative liberty. The next one is called Wooden Puppets. It's going to require the controllers and the gnome pipes. Oh boy, the gnomes are being involved. Woo!
Oh, fine.
Yes.
I support their life choices.
Yes. Smoking a pipe in the gnome home. Woo! Yeah. So, anyways, it's a blank mannequin, basically. So, or marionette, I should say. So, those. I guess the best way to describe them is that imagine, those. You know how artists use those like. I guess it's a mannequin, but it's like those posable figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine
Yeah.
something like that, kind of like a basic base design of a puppet kind of thing.
Right.
So that's an imagine for that, right? So
Yeah.
so now we get to the final part of this one, which I think you're gonna love. I think you're gonna be like, "Ooh, I want to draw this."
Well, you're hyping it up.
Yes. So it's called the Snow Ballerina. It's so it's gonna require the paper flakes, the wooden puppets, and then the controller to make the snow ballerina, which is a marionette looking like Susie Snowflake.
Interesting.
Again, it'll make more sense when we get to there. It'll be like, oh, that's why she's being included. It's not just the thing. It's like the audience is like, I'm starting to think that maybe the Susie Snowflake character is a fetish of yours. You keep drawing her and everything. It's like,
It's like, gee, I wonder if they're developing brain rot for this character.
Oh God, can you imagine that? That's horrible. God, that's when we know we went too far, when we see brain rot of fucking Susie Snowflake. Sometimes I wonder if it's a good thing that they're not popular, because God, can you imagine fucking Goosebump brain rot videos?
I wouldn't be surprised if any did actually exist. I failed to find any, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, I thought you would like that. Be like, ooh, a dry excuse to draw Susie, yes. I figured she'd look like a ballerina also for the sole purpose. Like, she'll look like Susie Snowflake, but as if she was being a ballerina in a sense. Like,
Okay,
maybe.
so you want to know a really interesting fact?
Yeah, sure.
So originally, you know how Susie Snowflake is supposed to be based on like a song of the same name?
Yeah, but the Susie is spelled differently. It's Suzy, not Susie. But yes, it
The
is
fun
based
thing
on.
about that is that the Susie Snowflake in the song is actually supposed to be described as like a ice ballerina.
So there you go. That makes sense. They call the snow ballerina then, eh? Some fun facts. We can make it work.
Yeah,
Susie but white.
Susie is white.
No, Susie but blue. Like Susie but ice. But actually snowy. But
Right.
yes. So we get to the scene. But should we talk about the scene itself, or should we talk about the scene drop? Like,
Um, I think we should talk about the scene thing first before the drop.
okay, so I guess we'll talk about the scene then. So the scene, and this is
Or
one
are
of
we
the.
still on the are we still on the crafting thing or
I mean, do you want us to talk about the crafting thing still? Because we can still do that and then
yeah,
go to the scene after.
yeah.
Okay, so the scene drop for the scene. So the thing you get for the drop, because this is going to be part of, because this is how I do my thing, right? I do the scene and then I do everything, you know, that makes sense. So the scene drop is called cursed words. And I know what you're thinking, like, wait,
Oh.
you're thinking like, wait, what? Like you mean swearing? No, no, no.
I can imagine like as made the scene area when the monsters are first released. I go fuck.
Monster of Tourette's. That's how he scares people. They swear at them.
Then when you complete the scare and you collect the item, you
The
pick it
swear
up, go
words.
shit.
The curse words. Yeah, each one is you get a new one every time. You get 13 different ones. Collect them all.
Crap, bitch.
Harder! Oh, I can't say that. Unless you're a black monster, then that's okay. Saying the A word though, maybe you can get away with that, but that's usually like, hey, hey, my brother, why you look up? Okay, I know you're having fun
Oh, that
with
was
this.
great.
God, God, I only wonder what it's gonna look like at the end of this, because I'm gonna explain why it's called that and what's going on here. Again, makes sense to the story. Please believe me, right? So originally, with these curse words, I had the originally described as scripts that have evil aura around it.
Right.
Okay, so the reason
It's
why,
kind of something similar to like the cursed script from Phantom, right?
kinda, but what I'm referring to here is basically the Karu Maori Omana Dona Karu words.
Oh, oh, the words that bring Slappy to life.
The cursed words, yes. That's why it's called that. Immediately, I wanted to let it play out first because I knew as soon as I said that, you're like, "Why, like swearing?" It's like, no, they're other curse words, words that make people come
No, I was
alive.
trying to distract you with the idea.
That's why I wanted to play it out because maybe we
That's
can make it
fucking
work.
hard. You just said,
A piece of slip of paper
oh, my chest hurts.
with a bunch of you know what it is. You know how people when they swear they have those like Q-berts kind of talking language. You know how they have like
Oh
little.
yeah.
Yeah, I imagine like a fucking slip of paper with a word. Curse
or
words.
make it look like the fucking censor bar from Digital Circus.
Yeah, there you go. The fucking yeah, the puppet face. Yeah, puppet face with a blank like a beep word. Censored.
Boing.
Parental advisory required. Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
that's a scene drop. So it makes sense with the whole Karumari, because that's coming from this particular scene, which I'll talk about in a moment. But anyways,
So
so
would the item itself look like how the words usually come in, like the little card
I'll
with the
leave it up
words?
to I can leave it up to you. I can think of it as being like the card, but it has different word. Like basically, it looks like it's supposed to be like evil aura kind of magic. So it's kind of like you can be creative with this, but again, the
Right.
ball's in your court.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens. We'll just play it out. All right. So
All
we'll
right.
see how this turns out. So, anyways, the final item, the big item, the kahuna, right? So you take an
The big.
educated, you take the educated monster, the snow ballerina, and the cursed words to make the unspoken vessel.
Wait. What's that?
It's a puppet in a box looking like Slappy the Dummy.
Oh, interesting. So
Yes,
you get to craft Slappy.
yes, and there's a reason why too. Once you get to know who this person is, it might be little hinting at what it is already. But yeah, there's a reason why the Slappy I can imagine this being a bootleg looking Slappy too, by the way.
Oh, like Wally,
Yeah.
or yeah, I think it was Wally from the Slappy's Nightmare.
Yeah, or you could be like that puppet from that segment from Krusty. You know how the episode with um God, what's his name? Fuck. That puppet who could Krusty got canceled type of episode. Gabbo, that's it. That's good. Like the
Yeah,
episode with
that's what I just did.
Yeah. Do you remember with Gabbo with him kind of like doing the episode like, oh, you want talking puppets, huh? Well, I could do that. Hey, Johnny, what do you want to like? You know why the crow's like a rain desk? I don't know. Why is that? Why are you scared? It's not even alive. It's dead. Kid screaming and you could
I
kick
like
the
that he tried
puppet.
to go for an Alice in Wonderland angle.
You could do that too, yeah. But like I can imagine like it kind of looking like that. You know how those toy slappies you get back in the '90s with the fucking bag and everything with the dummy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine something like that. Or you could even go the full um Goosebumps series. Goosebumps first season look with the box and the creepy looking realistic Slappy.
Yes, good old Ginger Slappy.
Yeah.
Because he has no soul.
Yes. It's not
It
nice to it's not nice to talk like that. I don't really remember what he said.
wasn't very nice of you to dump me in the sewer like that.
That's it, yeah. See, you know this, I don't.
Oh, that's because I'm way
I
too much
can
of a fucking.
I can hurt you 1,000 different ways.
I can hurt you and your family in a million ways.
Yeah. So anyways, that's the funny puppet we get to make at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense there. So any questions on that or
No, I got nothing.
Okay, so we'll move on quickly to some of the stuff. So supplier is going to be the puppet. So this is going to be the items you get multiples of, like the things that they give away like candy, right? Which is called puppet
Right.
booth, which is a puppet booth, which is I'm assuming it'd be something like those those little toy stands. It's kind of like a puppet theater type of thing. I imagine something like that.
Excuse me. Yep.
Okay. Uh, Promenade supplier. So the thing you see in the promenade section is the Susie statue. Because I don't know what else to put there. So it's like Susie, like the Susie Snowflake ballerina thing, but a statue.
Oh, I thought you were talking about from the Tune In Tomorrow event.
Yeah, your statue. I'm taking your idea and bringing it to mine.
Yeah, I'm gonna just fucking take this from you for a second here
You made
because I
this?
got Susie
The
mods.
whole thing is like, hey, look what I made. You made this? I made this. Yeah, no, but I imagine this
I
would be
can
more of
imagine.
like an ice sculpture kind of thing, right? So I
I
just
can
imagine.
imagine like as soon as like someone asks about statue, you're like, I made this. It's like, oh, you made that, and then you see like me in the like little corner, little pennants, and then you just stomp on my head and shove me in the ground. Like, yeah, I totally made it.
Yeah, or that picture of that guy who's like kind of grabbing a ball, but then immediately there's another guy who's holding him. It's just like me grabbing that Stussy statue, and then it's like you holding me. It's like, did you really make this? Yeah, no. So there's that. So I guess we talk about the scene. Now, what's sad about this is that we kind of come up with these names of like, what this is the promenade scene name, and then this is the actual scene you get for the grand prize type of thing. But lately they've been like, here's the scene, but the name is final prize. Lazy, but we'll just go with our fun, creative names because we're not lazy. I mean, we're lazy in some
Yeah,
aspects, but not in these.
yeah,
So,
we're not lazy when it comes to shit.
okay, so I guess I can't talk about the grand prize scene character, like with Rado's monster scene, because it would spoil a bit until we get to his storyline, so I won't say what it is just yet. But the scene in question for the promenade is going to be called the Nutcracker Nightmare,
Okay,
and the when you get it in your hometown, it's going to be called the Holiday Stage. So I imagine this
right.
looking like a actual pageant play. I guess the best way to describe this is that the Snoopy did a Nutcracker update for Christmas, and they had the little scene area be like that of a play. So I figured you could just take that asset and just kind of be like, let me just make it more goosebumpy and spooky. There you go. All done. Because the idea of this is that this play is going to be basically taking the Nutcracker, the Nutcracker Suite, but starring Susie Snowflake. So it's like Susie Nutcracker, or you know what I mean. Like how the so-called characters have like their own little like a Muppets Christmas Carol kind of thing. It's like Susie Snowflake's Nutcracker.
Or better yet, Susie Snowflake in the Nuttiest Nutcracker.
Oh fuck, that's a memory. Holy shit. That is a fucking memory. My God.
Oh my god, that movie was so fucking weird.
Jesus Christ, the animation too. Holy fuck, that is early '90s. If I ever did see it. Wasn't there like a Jamaican guy too? It's like, I might be.
Yeah,
Okay, good. I'm not. I'm thinking of the wrong thing. It's like, fuck me. That is.
no, it was like it had all of these nut characters that had like nothing to do with the fucking story.
You know what it reminds? You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the fucking Winnie the Pooh universe slash like there's a fucking there was an animator who did this thing where basically they would insert themselves into fucking popular shows and movies, and it's like they're like nothing, like you could take them out and it'll be just fine, but they just add nothing to the scene. It's just like, oh, they're just there. Right, and the guy in question, he's like he has a beast character, right? And I remember watching some segments of it. It's funny. Don't get me wrong, he was a good animator. Like he actually made it like it looked good, right? But it's still kind of cringe in its own subset. But it's funny cringe, right? It's like it's a harmful cringe. It's like it's good for what it is, right? I feel bad he gets bullied, but I digress. He's having fun with it. But yeah, it's like those weird fucking like characters that are not. They don't add anything. They're just there. They're just there because it's like self inserts, right? It's just like, yeah, you could just take them out of the story and be nothing would ever change, right? It's like a Jar Jar Binks kind of thing. It's just like he's just there. He
Right.
has no value. He's just there. But yeah. Anyway, so the scene in question is gonna have the puppet boy and girl nutcrackers. So I imagine them kind of looking like you could portray like the cover art in a sense, but kind of like the boy dressed up like a nutcracker and the girl being like more of a ballerina. So it's kind of like setting characters within the scene of the
Well,
cracker
instead of
suit.
like the ballerina, because that's already an overplayed thing, I was thinking about the sugar.
Yeah, the sugar plum fairy that works too. Yeah, yeah. So something like that. You could just have him be like something like that, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the there is going to be another character associated with this, and it's going to be Edwardo, true monster form, but I won't spoil what that is just yet because again I want to leave it to you know thing. I'll talk about the animations real quick. I didn't have a whole lot here. I just kind of keep it short and sweet. But normal tasks people get up is setting up for Christmas. So this is just getting the normal crafting item, which is the puppet controllers. So
Yeah.
makes sense, right? Edwardo has some animations, but I'll talk about that when it comes to his quest line. But I will talk about his task, which is making new puppets, which is basically him going to his little hidey hole. What's a hidey hole?
Yeah. A hidey hole.
Yeah. So again, I only have 4 characters for quest lines or animations, right? Because the other thing too is you can have other characters do quest lines, but really it's just them being associated with an item to be just dropping items just to go in a building and the clock pops in. So it's like, who fucking cares about that? Let's talk about the fun stuff, the animations, right? So Lucy and Dustin have an animation called Puppet Play, which is basically them, I'm assuming, playing with a different kind of character role, like a puppet. I don't know what kind of puppet per se, but I'm sure they have different roles, and I imagine them actually dressing up as characters they play. So Lucy, they can recycle the whole Susie Snowflake look from that one bit, right? If they want to be lazy. Dustin, I can see him being like the toy soldier or the Nutcracker in a sense, right?
Right.
So that's why I imagine this, right, to be in a sense. Piccolo would be involved with him being something called directing, which is basically him associated. Like it sounds exactly what it is. It's basically him with the fucking microphone, kind of yelling, right? He's just looking at the script. He's just like, you know.
So basically, it's just like something similar from R.B. Faraday, because he kind of does the same thing too.
Yeah, basically, but he's doing a sitting anime. He doesn't walk around.
Well, obviously, because he doesn't have any fucking legs. My fucking legs, Piccolo.
Yeah, like
my fucking legs.
Make fun of Piccolo. Yeah, well, look what I can do. I can walk. Ooh, look at the legs. Like,
it's like, oh yeah, well I can do something that you can't. Oh yeah, what's that?
I can
kicks a ball, and then Piccolo's just like, why you gotta do this to me, Frosty?
Why? I love too that they fixed his animation. No, we'll hold off until we get to that. That's a whole different side. We'll talk about that next episode with his animations and whatnot from his more stuff.
Right.
And then Susie has an animation. So this is the only other character who has an animation, and she has something called Sugar Plum Dance. And I can only imagine what that will look like. I just came up with the idea, and I thought this sounds nice, and you can use your imagination what that might be.
I can think of something, yeah.
Yeah, so something fun with that. Like I'm sure you can. There's something fun with that. Like it's Susie-sided, I guess. Yeah, I'm sure you can come up with ideas. Anyways, should we get to the story now? Or did I forget something?
Yeah.
I don't think I did. Okay, so let's get to the story. Let's snap this cake. Let's try to hurry this up. I don't have time for this. I need Christmas stuff to get to. I got Christmas stuff to do or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa. Right.
I gotta give out these books. What the hell is Kwanzaa?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I feel bad because I know someone who celebrates Kwanzaa, okay? He doesn't celebrate Christmas, he celebrates Kwanzaa, and that's Helger. Shout out to you if you ever watch this. I don't think you do. But you are a person of the channel, so hello. I acknowledge you. Happy Kwanzaa, by the way. So yeah, I don't know anyone who's Jewish though. I would have said Happy Hanukkah to them, but I'm assuming somebody who's watched it must be celebrating Hanukkah.
I celebrate Hanukkah, folks. My wife's a doctor.
I know. I don't want to bring politics into this, but I remember watching something recently where it's something called Freedom Tunes, where they did this thing where it's like
yes,
he did with his family. It's like I'm trying to give me the mashed potatoes. And I want to say, okay, folks, I didn't want to say my child, Google Gaga, folks.
Google Gaga, folks.
Yes. I love Freedom Tunes. Oh, they make some of the best things ever.
Yeah, no, it's just he's just funny for both sides. But yeah, anyway, I don't want to go into politics because again, we don't want to. Again, the
God, I didn't think you would actually
religion,
get that. But that's
punishment,
great.
and there's politics. No talkie. But yeah, no, it's just funny with him, but just
Wait
being
until we get to be afraid.
Juju that Google Gaga folks.
Google
I
Gaga
feel like
folks.
that. Yeah, everyone's Ben Shapiro. Yeah,
I love
yeah, it's funny, and then he's funny. He does a lot. We could talk about that after the show, but anyways, yeah. So happy
Yeah.
holidays to all of you. Anyways, starts off curly introduction again. But, you know, every
Yeah.
every time we gotta go. Here's your coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so Curly
Kind
does.
of reminds me of that one scene. It kind of reminds me of that one scene in Hockey
Oh,
and shit. They go, yeah.
you know what it
I
reminds
can
me
like
of?
imagine everyone just being curly and just like, yeah, yeah,
I remember.
yeah.
I remember. I actually remember Roger doing something similar. It's just like, give me the money or else what? It's like, God damn it! It's like if I need to find a stoner, I need to think like a stoner. Let me just take this puff. Huh, I don't feel anything. Oh! And it's like, boom. Roger, what are you doing here?
These edibles ain't shit.
Worse. I love it. And you just hear a fucking electric feel. Oh god, we should talk about the story and stuff going off topic, but you know, that's I can't.
Yeah,
Funny stuff.
talking about the story.
Funny stuff happens, folks. You can imagine. But anyways, Curly does an introduction in the sense that, again, I do these pinpoints, so I don't really have a dialogue per se like you do. I gotta just go like, Curly introducts. Then there's a so I'm gonna make stuff up the spot. So I can only imagine Curly's kind of like introducing the fact of just like, yeah, Christmas. It's Christmas time yet again, folks. And again, they always have to do the promenade of a Christmas special. I thought they would get rid of this already. I thought they would do the like. I think they tried this again before, right? So they do a Christmas pageant again, right? But this time is different because we have a new character popping in. I wonder what kind of exciting things. I'm sure. Again, the team with their puns, they'll do something good with it. I'm sure. Do some Pinocchio puns. Be funny with that. Puppet puns. Yeah.
Oh god, the puppet puns. Slappy's worst nightmare.
There'd be
It's not Wally. It's fucking puppet puns.
yes. You have no strength. No, I won't say that yet because that's a good That's a good title for his quest line, but we'll hold off on that. Anyways, quest ends with that whole shit. You know, doing the introduction. So now we get to the I love it. We just kind of go vaguely, just like, oh, he introduces this stuff, and then we move on to the story. So it starts off with Lucy and Dustin talking about the play that's going on because Mr. Piccolo's doing another play again. Of course, why, right? So again, they're talking about it. It's like, oh, didn't they do this last time? Didn't it go wrong? It's just like, yeah, but they're doing something else. It's apparently supposed to be new this year. It's just like, yeah, I doubt that. Oh well, let's go see what Mr. Piccolo wants, right? So then we get to the next quest, which is Piccolo, which is him basically introducing to the new person, Edwardo, who is going to be his assistant for this play, right?
Right.
Which is basically, it's like he's like, oh, this year is different, folks, because I have a helping hand. I have a helper this time. I want to introduce you to Edwardo. And I didn't. By the way, when we introduced him, you saw him through the pictures, I assume, if I knew lazy, but I didn't describe him per se because there's a thing with him that's gonna get twisted. Like you probably saw it, but there's a twist to him in this dialogue in the end. But I won't say what it is just yet. But yeah, this is where he introduces the character, right? The new character. Quest starts, quest ends. Wilder introduces himself to the kids and says that this year he's going to do. This year we're doing a puppet, the adaptation of Nutcracker's sweet Susie's Nuttiest Nuttiest Cracker or whatever it's called.
Nuttiest nutcracker.
Yeah, the Nutty Cracker. Oh my god, Nutty Crackers. Can you imagine? That's a stupid name. Nutty Crackers.
Nutty nut. Like I can imagine Nutty Crackers is just like a whole bunch of crazy white people screaming and shouting.
Snowmen, why yelling at people? It's a snow police and then getting
One of them just runs up to a woman and starts screaming in her ear like, ah!
It's the snow police from the update we didn't include last time. They're upset that we didn't include them. That's why they're yelling.
This is why you need to be more articulate with your words. Because
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
because you can have nuttiest nutcracker to nuttiest cracker.
See, we can say that because we're
You need to
white.
remind me to get
I'm
those
only
listed
kidding.
because that shit's funny.
Yeah. We could say that because we're kind. I mean, we identify as white for all you know. I mean, I'm a scarecrow guy, and you're. I mean, I guess technically you're meanie, so you're white, so you could say that.
Yeah. Well, technically, I'm made of ink.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, you're technically black too, so you could probably. Oh no, you could get away with that.
No, no.
Let's not do that. I don't want to get demonetized. Like we didn't get this demonetized. Yeah, I don't want to go off
We would
air.
get canceled so fast.
We don't want to
We'd
have the
be-
gamer word moment under the bridge.
we would be canceled faster than the nuttiest crackers.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, anyways, he introduces the idea that this is what the play they're doing, and it's going to be interesting because this time it's going to be with puppets. So it's like, okay, that's interesting. How the fuck are they going to do that? Because they don't know how to do puppets. Well, that's why Edwardo's there. He's a puppet master. He's the puppet master. He knows all the things. He's the Jim Henson of this world. I can only imagine. It's just like, I can imagine him looking like Jim Henson in a sense.
Oh, wow.
Maybe not. I don't know. Again, we're talking about this, so you don't know who he looks like, but you're probably like, oh, we know what he looks like. But again, stop bringing the fourth wall, Grim. Shut up. Okay. Yeah, it's just every time it's like, oh, anyways, so we'll continue from that. So now we go. So next part of the new quest starts off. The kids are practicing with their puppets, and basically it's just like Wallace is like, good job, children, you're doing such great time, and it just like talks to, and he points out to Brooke. It's like, Brooke, like, I like how you're doing it, especially with your thanking Brooke. It's like, oh, thank you, sir. It's just like, why don't you come backstage for a moment? I want to just see if you can assist me with something, right? It's like, okay. I was like, oh, that's ever a good sign. Let me go backstage with me for a moment. Don't worry. As far as you know. Right. So quest starts, quest ends. This moment is kind of like Dustin's kind of goofing off, and he bumps into Edwardo, right? And he's just like, oh, sorry, I didn't sit to see you there. It's just like, oh, whatever, right? And he's like, oh, hey, cool puppet, right? And it's like, that kind of looks like Brooke. And it's like, yes, I actually was making this for Brooke for her performance because of whatever. That's why I wanted to show her backstage, but she ended up running out. So, whatever. So, you go.
Because I'm scared.
Huh?
No, that puppet's creepy.
It's creepy. Look, it's too realistic. I don't like it. It's hyper realistic. I don't like it. It's uncanny.
It's hyper realistic. Now I just imagine like having one of those creepypasta-esque hyper realistic eyes.
Yeah.
Like Squidward Suicide.
Yeah.
It's like
it moves realistically, and like it bleeds hyper realistic blood. It's real. Like now it's making sure like, well, how the fuck did he make that so fast? It's just like, Gee, I think you're pretty much getting where this is going, but it's just like, it's just like Dustin's a child. He doesn't know any better. For all he knows, he probably made this already ahead of time. All right. But anyways, he's kind of weirded out by that. So next quest starts. Dustin talks to Lucy, and he's just like, I think, I just bumped into Edwardo, and he had this puppet of Brooke, and I don't know where Brooke is. He's like disappear. I think something bad's going. Like something bad happened here, right? And of course, Lucy, being the detective know-all that she is, she's just kind of like, you know what, like, yeah, like, this guy's kind of weird too. Maybe we'll just go backstage just to see, just put our mind at ease. Maybe he's not a bad guy. Maybe we just misunderstand him, right? So we'll investigate, as it were, but not now, right? Like kind of thing, right? Well, when he's not
Yeah.
looking, kind of thing. We'll sneak into his hidey hole. Anyways, so quest ends. So they go behind the backstage. They look through the stuff. They see his weird shit going on, like these weird puppets, right? It's like really weird looking. Like they actually look like, as you say, hyper realistic, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
this is odd, right? These weird puppets and all that stuff. And then there's like weird hanging things. And then he has a script, right? The script per se, which is supposed to be whatever you call it, right? But they end up coming across his plan, and he's like, "Oh, this is not good." So it turns out Dustin was right to be scared, because that wasn't just a Brooke puppet. That was Brooke. He turned her into a puppet. Oh no! Turns
Oh
out,
no.
oh no! Right? Because it
Oh no.
turns out he. I guess I'll go into details with this, but basically, they find out through the script that apparently part of the whole line is that it's going to play out normally, but it gets to near the end of the scene where Susie Snowflake goes ahead and says to the Nutcrackers, it's like, "Oh, say the magic words to break the spell," right? And the so-called magic words, the curse words, as it were, are words that are supposed to turn people into puppets. So his plan is to
Oh wow.
basically he's getting his arsenal ready. He's just like collecting all this shit, because he's just like, ah, more puppets for me. I'm collecting of them. That's all the basic knowledge you know, because they're kind of panicking at this moment, because they're like, oh shit, he's probably coming back. I'll just fucking run before he notices, because he might turn us into puppets, right? So that's where they
Right.
figured out what's going on. Though that quest finally ends, so it kind of goes on here. And basically now Lucy and Dustin is out of that situation, and basically they plan their attack. They're like, we need to stop this guy from doing his plan, because the last thing we need is to have him basically turn our town into fucking puppet people. Just like the name of the book, Night of the Living Puppet People. But anyway,
Oh, these are the
oh, I'm
mine.
connected. Anyways, yeah. So that whole thing happens, and they're kind of like, well, like, what were they gonna do? We need to stop them from doing this, right? So he's just like, then Lucy's like, I think I have an idea, right? So it's like, he doesn't know we know what's going on, and we are actually like, it's good for them, because they end up getting the starring role. So Lucy is Susie, and Dustin is the Nutcracker. So Dustin's supposed to say the cursed words, supposedly, that turns everyone into puppets, right? So Dustin could just say something else entirely, and no one would be none the wiser, right? I mean, the other guy would be pissed off, but he's just like, we need to stop this and so and so. So what are they gonna do? Well, what other words do they know that could cause some chaos? There's only one there's only one they know.
The N word.
Hard R. We need to get the hard R pass. We got the card.
Yeah,
We got the card. We can say it.
we
We
need
can say the curse
we
word.
need the card. And they go to Zeke.
The N-word pass card. Eh, we got it from
Or better
we
yet,
got it
oh
from our
wait, wait,
friend
wait.
Eric.
Instead,
Eric gave us the N-word pass.
wait, instead, like I could like it reminds me of this one scene where like in Family Guy, where Peter and Quagmire had their own cooking show. It's like let's end it in our terms. That sounds like a great idea. And then when they said the hard R, the Cleveland, they like go back in the bar, and Cleveland's like, you should have picked just another word. Like I can imagine that with
Yeah.
just Zeke's just sitting there like, you could have just said you quit.
Yeah. Or Eric, or anyone else, like, or the god, the mayor. Can you imagine that? She'd
Oh
probably
my
be offended.
god.
She'd be all tearing up on that place. But yeah, anyways, so they're gonna plan their attack. So quest start, quest ends. So it's gonna go into the fact that Slappy is doing something. He's just mucking about. He's hating the holidays as usual. He's doing his bah humbug, right? He's
Yeah,
probably
of
doing
course.
something,
That's his
right?
thing.
He's bah humbugging up. He's like it's Slappy time, and he just Slappy is all over the place. He's high on the Holly Dunny dust after all. He's glitching out as we speak. So, anyways,
Yes.
basically, just if he's distracted or something. And the idea is that they're basically going to steal the card from him. The card in question that brings him to life. So they're going to switch the words with his. Because they know saying that word ends up bad things happening. So it's like, well, it's better than whatever the fuck is going to happen there, right? So
Right.
anyway, so they successfully got the thing off of him without him knowing, right? And then that happens.
Oh,
So yeah, the card in question, right? The N word, the password. He has the card. He has the card. Don't ask how he has it. He just knows. He just has it. It's a bootleg card. Yeah. Uh, anyways, so
oh, we're gonna get canceled so hard.
happy holidays.
Oh,
Cancel.
I already like
You
this
got
episode. It's my favorite.
Shapelo coming in and it's like, you like this? Well, no more. Yeah, no more content for
I
you.
can't wait to see this on the shorts.
If I'm not lazy, yeah. Oh God. Anyways, so yeah, so there's that. So anyways, we go to the next quest. Curly comes back. It kind of skips time for. So basically, they decide to go ahead and play off. Like they got the card, so they're playing it off. So they're like they're gonna play to his little game for now. So basically, he's making it seem like everything's there, and he's just like gets to the end. Like they go like, oh, well, what about the ending? Is like, oh no, don't worry about the ending. I'll give it to you near the end. We're still writing it, right? That basically
Right.
he doesn't want to fucking preload. Like he doesn't want it to happen quickly, right? He doesn't want to have him say
Right.
it and then go like, oh fuck. Now what I'm gonna do? Right, because he wants the whole crowd to be turned into puppet. He wants a whole collection of them, right? So, anyway, so it's like Curly goes to the opening night, right? He basically skips to the opening night kind of thing, kind of like saying that whole thing is like, well, I wonder if Lucy and Dustin's plan is going to go to work. I wonder if Slappy knows that he got his thing stolen. I won't tell him that, right?
Not yet.
Quest start quest. It's like imagine that he's like, it's like well, I got something to say to you. He says the R word. He's just like, you can't say that. Oh yeah, well I got a card. Goes in his pocket. He's like, what did you say that puppet? I've had it somewhere. Wait, I'm not. I'm actually made of dark wood. Anyways, having too much fun with this. That's so bad.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so we get to the whole Piccolo kind of talking. It's like, oh man, like there's a whole crowd here. It's so big. And, like he's like talking to Waldo in a sense. He's like, this is actually working out. Nothing bad's happening so far. This is going to be working out so good. And you might be wondering why he's so eager with this. And it's going to talk more about in his quest line how he sets this whole up and how he got involved in this whole sit. But regardless, he's kind of talking about how oh, he can't, like, he's kind of hoping this play turns out well because he was told by Edwardo that the famous theater critic Mrs. Boers is coming.
Oh, I know where she is from.
Yeah, because he mentioned Nutcracker Nightmare. It's like
Yeah.
that's
That
that whole
yes.
inclusion of her is that she's a theater critic. That's why she loves to play. It just goes on and on and on. Everyone age and no one notices. And it's like, oh, finally we're done. It's like, this is just the second half. It's not done yet. You're gonna age.
She's like the bitch with like crazy time magic.
Yeah, because he just likes to fuck with people.
It's like, oh, you think this is boring? Well, watch
I'll make it
this, bitch.
boring. Yeah. Anyways, that's funny. I love the joke of that. It's like it's so boring that everyone ages. Everyone dies. Everyone gets old. Anyways, so yeah, so
And
yeah, so he
I've
gets
heard of being bored to death, but this is ridiculous.
this is ridiculous. Yeah. So anyway, so that happens. So basically, while I was kind of laughing at himself, it's just like, this is it's like, yes, indeed, it's a full house. I'm glad it's actually a full house. Something is a magical surprise. It's like you haven't told me about that ending though. It's like, oh, don't worry, it's gonna be a showstopper for sure. Kind of thing like that, right?
All right.
So Lucy and Dustin are kind of like nervous about the plan because, well, I mean, next quest starts. So Lucy and Lucy and Dustin is talking to each other in their costumes. It's kind of like, hoping this whole plan works, right? Because it's so far everything's landing out too, right? Right. So they're like, you know what to remember to say, Dustin, right? It's just like, yeah, but I wonder if I'm gonna screw it up. It's like, the guy do it. It's save it for the town, right? So, all right. So that happens. Quest ends. Quest ends. So now we get to the whole play thing. So he's like, "Oh, this is it. Here we go. Here we go." Rubbing his hands together. Oh boy, this is great. Can't help it. The evil corporation. But anyways,
Corporation, huh?
oh, my little plan comes to motion. This is it. My final payoff comes now. Can you imagine that's his voice?
We got two mouse.
Oh, by the way, I there's a thing that I have planned for if let's just say if an update is happening as I think it is, and you're gonna bring in a horror hero character, Mickey Mouse might make an appearance. I won't say more.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I won't say more than that. But
Oh wait, we can't use Mickey. We have to use Steamboat Willie.
yeah, no, I mean, well, his voice acting, right? I mean, they got rid of it with South Park, but yeah, it's Steamboat Willie. Why not?
Yeah, Steamboat Willie. Then we're just gonna call
The
him
character, the
Steamboat
character
Willie.
that can't talk. Anyways, so anyways, the whole thing happens. They're like, oh boy. So then, like Lucy in her costume is just like, like Nutcracker, you saved the day. You stopped the evil Rat King from destroying Sugar Plum Land. Say the magic words to get out of the whole like they free you from your curse, right? And he's like, and the Erado's like, this is it, finally. And then later, Dustin says his words. Karu, Marie, Omana, Donna, Karu. I don't know the full words, but you know what it is. But you and I are one now.
Haru, Marie, Odona, Loma, Balanu, Corrado.
Yes, so these that words he says. And by the way, congratulations, your stuff is now haunted. I
Yay!
I was saying it wrong on purpose because I didn't want to curse you, but Vampire didn't care for your safety, so now your whole item's a curse. So have fun with Teddy over there. He's gonna.
No, that's not exactly how that works.
Well, no, screw you. That's how it works.
No, that's not. I'm the one who's cursed because I said it.
Well, I mean, I thought it was like the ring thing where it's like you hear it, but that is it.
Oh no, it's the person who speaks the words is cursed.
Ah, okay. Well, but anyways, that happens, and Ronaldo's pissed off. He's like, "What? No, that's not what they were supposed to say." So what happened was basically the puppets they were playing with, they become alive. They're the little puppet people that were scene characters. Like, we're free. We're free. We're finally free from the horrible Eduardo character. We're gonna attack them. It's like, no, that's not what. I imagine this is gonna be a. Do you remember the episode of The Simpsons with the monorail?
Yeah.
So you imagine where the Lionel, that guy, he's just like, we're taking a quick stop at North Neighborhood. North Neighborhood. Where have I heard that before? Oh no! Oh no! There he is! Just get him! It's a bunch of puppets going after the guy. So I just imagine that kind of happening there, right? Yeah. So that happens, and then as that happening, Brooke becomes free, so she ends up becoming uncursed because that whole curse was broken. So I think how it works is basically because he said another curse word that basically cancel each other out, so it kind of has this weird like I don't know, this weird effect where it's like two things colliding with one another and they kind of cancel each other out, kind of thing. But not, I don't know.
Right.
Just making a shit off the spot. They could be creative, whatever. I did do my best, okay? But get my ideas out there. So that's the whole thing that's going on there. And then we get to the final part where it's like, there's like finally like we're gonna get this guy. It's like he looks like he's dead. Like he's like lying on the floor. It looks like he's fucking dead, right? They
He's
killed an
just
old
doing like
man.
or he's just doing like the Family Guy death pose.
Yeah, that's what I imagine too. It's just like it's like, oh my god, we killed an old man. It's just like, wait a minute, no. He says, look, he he's a puppet. Oh no! It's like they find out he's actually not real. He wasn't a real boy after all. And then Carly comes in with a one-liner. Well, I always thought you was wooden, but that's ridiculous.
Oh God.
Happy Warrior! And Quest
Well,
ends.
that point was a little warm.
I know that acting was wooden, but that's ridiculous.
Then Slappy just has like a fucking axe ready just to chop up Curly just for making bad jokes.
That's it, Curly. I'm bringing Meanie's act with me. Yeah. So
It's like, here's the sequel featuring Meanie.
Yeah. So that's the main quest line, roughly. Just the whole gist of what I have planned for there. Of overall thoughts.
It was really amusing. I liked it.
I do too. My only downside is that the limitations I got. It's like you can't really make a good story with an 8-parter thing, and it's just like trying to cram everything in there while also trying to make it work.
I know that was like the same problem when I was working Batwing Hall. It's like, oh, I have to cram it into 8 parts. That's like, so fucking lame.
Let's add a story. Like, let's add a fucking dialogue. Let's make it into a short story. Why won't we? Click, 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 click. Why won't it in? I don't care for the story. Come on.
But I really like long stories.
I know, I do too. I know. I know. But anyways, so now we get to our favorite character, Waldo. And this is where we get revealed to, like, the fact that, first of all, yeah, he's a puppet, but it's like, all right, so who is the puppet master? Who is controlling his strings, right? You might be curious about that, right? So
it's Wally.
Huh?
I said it's Wally.
It's Wally. It's Wally. Anyways,
it's me, Wally.
Anyway, yeah. So his quest line is entitled "No Strings Attached."
Okay.
So, anyways, Curly introduces the story, and he kind of does the whole introducing who Edwardo is. Or, well, what he does is he actually tells the story of long ago, before HorrorTown became HorrorTown, there was a village that lived here, and for the longest time, this village got harassed by a wizard. A particular wizard who has particularly a fascination with bringing things alive. So it's revealed that this is the spirit of Ephraim Darkwell. Yes, Slappy's creator. Slappy's creator. This is Slappy's creator and Curly introduces this as the fact that this guy basically harassed his town for a long time. And yes, even kind of hints at the fact that he made Slappy and Mr. Wooden future dummies that might come in the future. But, I digress. But anyways, he goes on and says the fact that at one point the town had enough of his shit. And he's like, you know what? Fuck you. We're burning your house down.
Oh, they pretty much just Freddy Kruegered him.
Yeah, basically, in a sense. But before he knew this was going to happen eventually, so he had an escape plan, right? So he's like, he built this life-size puppet, and he was going to transfer his soul into the puppet via kind of like what happened with Kandu and fucking Slappy. But in that case, he was forced into it, right? But it's that kind of concept where, he gets possessed into the puppet while his body falls down limp. And he's an old man, right? So he's not going to live that long. So this way he lives forever. So, He ends up
So he
bringing
just basically turned himself into like a puppet lich.
correct.
There you
So
go. That's crazy.
yeah, so that gets his escape card because now they look at the dead guy and they're like, "Oh, he's dead. Good. Fuck him." Kicks him in the butt. The death pose is the Family Guy pose. It's the old man body. Meanwhile, his puppet is he's just sitting there, kind of like waiting for his turn, right? So eventually, once the town's clears, he wakes up and kind of walks off, like he kind of escapes. Basically, he has his disguise on and type of thing like that, and he basically talks about over the years he kind of plays like he survives under this whole his puppet shell. Basically, he's living in a like a like what you
He's
said.
living in a puppet simulation.
Basically, yeah. So he lives in that kind of body type of thing.
Simulation.
So
He's
his
in the
spirit,
puppet matrix.
so his spirit is in this form, and that's why his ghost spirit is the spawn scene. That's why I didn't want to spoil it because it's like, oh, it's gonna spoil what it is. But yes, so when he sits summons in this big prize, he basically shows his ghost form, his wizard form in the sense, his true form, right? So
His ghost wizard face.
yeah, so I don't know, he's obsessed with puppets and basically making them alive because he's a lonely old man. It's like, think of like Pinocchio, fucking Geppetto, like, but worse. He
I was
tricked
thinking of
Daffy.
more along the lines of like Mary Shaw from Dead Silence. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Yeah, I do. That was a creepy ass movie too, by the way. There's a little different endings with that too that got cut. That was the same creator who made Saw, by the way, I think. Who also
Yeah,
who also ended up making Insidious. So, you know, the guy, guy makes the videos. It's like good to watch type of thing, but whatever. So
I know
anyways,
that I know that my ex girlfriend was like really scared of that movie, mainly because of that clown doll or the clown puppet, because she's like deathly afraid of clowns.
yeah, and there's a reference, by the way, if you pay attention to the dolls that are in that scene, Billy is in there because, of course, he is.
Yeah,
So if you pay
and
attention, Billy's
weirdly
there.
enough, the ventriloquist dummy in that movie is also named Billy.
Yeah, and he kind of looks like
So there's
Slappy
like
because, of
two
course,
Billies in one movie.
I love how everybody now is every wooden dummy is like, oh, that's Slappy.
Yeah, right. Like even the dummies
Toy,
from Toy Story 4.
that's what I'm going to say. Toy Story 4. That's Slappy. There's Slappies all over the place, slapping it all up. Slap.
It's like a small little army of slappies.
There's a funny. Oh, by the way, I just remember. There's a funny clip with a girl basically talking about like this was like back in the home base days where it basically is just showing like the Slappy dummy puppets. It's like that's why he's called Slappy because he slaps things. It's like, no, Slappy, don't do that. Stop slapping. Like, not another one. The Slappy. He's like annoyed. She's more annoyed. Like he's a goofball basically, but yeah, that's why he's called Slappy because he likes slapping people. Anyways, he kind of goes on saying that how he over throughout his life he goes by different anagrams. Like he basically has different personas for different towns, and eventually comes back to his hometown and he goes by the name, and then cuts to him and he's like Edwardo Cobb at your service, or Caleb at your service, right?
Right.
So again, it cut. So then the quest starts, and then one of the thing is, so he has a few quest lines here. I'll list them off here because I don't know where each one will go. But his animations are puppet play or playing, which is basically as it sounds, puppet dancing, dummy talks, and drawing ideas.
Oh, that latter one sounds really relatable.
I know, it's like you and him can relate. Yeah, but anyways, so then that quest ends, and it basically is Eduardo's talking to the mayor, right? That's why the whole introduction of like Eduardo, Caleb at your service, right? That's why it kind of cuts into that. Like it kind of has his lead transitions into that. So the mayor is just like, that's
Nice.
very
That's a
impressive.
pretty nice transition.
A seamless transition.
I said that's a pretty nice transition.
Yeah,
Yeah, I said that was a pretty nice transition.
I love that. It's just like, and like many like he goes to the many Caleb, and one of them is, and it's like. It's like, I see what you did there. So it's like, yeah. So now we get the full reveal of who he is, right? So, and the reason why is like, why not just have him there? It's just like, well, for one, the history with Slappy as far as his lore goes is been kind of wishy-washy for the whole point. Like they didn't really go specify who it was. The only time he was actually officially in lore with his whole his thing was the Slappy Beware book, but that's a Slappy book and a Slappy World book, and that's not allowed right now. So this is the way around it. So if they can't use that name, they could just always say they can always imply that, right?
Right. Kind of like what they did with Eric Appleby being R.L. Stein.
Exactly. They hinted at it and they kind of supply it, but they don't really outright say, "Oh, it's this character." So if
Exactly.
they can't use the name, they can't. But if they can, there you go, right? So and it makes sense because the wizard was like fucking 300 years old, so he's probably dead by now. So of course he has to have his spirit live on through something he's fucking obsessed with. So
Puppets.
puppets everywhere. Dummies. I got your puppets here. I got marionettes. I got pan puppets. I got sock puppets. I got dummies. I got Muppet puppets. I like me all puppets.
And I also got Trash in the gang.
Oh, I love Trash in the gang. The grass. Yeah. So, anyways. So Edwardo introduces himself to the mayor at this point, like during this time. And the mayor is just like, yeah, that's nice and all, but unfortunately, we already have schedules planned for the promenade to be featured with the children of HorrorTown. We've wanted to have this be featured, but we had issues, but all that stuff and more. And he's just like, oh, okay, so that's fine then. Thank you very much for your time, right? So he goes off, right? But leader to say he's going to go into finding his way, to weasel his way into the school at some point, right? So he's like, maybe I can make this work, right? Maybe I can't have my own play, but I can certainly try to weasel my way in there. Maybe this will work out for me after all, right?
It's like, if I can't have my own play, I might as well sabotage something.
I'm gonna be a leech, a parasite, as it were. But anyways, so quest ends.
Oops, they're gonna hate me.
Quest starts, and basically Mara and Mortman and argue with one another because it's just like, have you talked to him, Eugene? Has he agreed to it yet? He's like, no, Agatha, he hasn't. Like he seems to be refusing after the whole shebang that happened last time. He's refusing to do anything to do the play, especially with someone involved with Susie Snowflake, right? Because he had fucking Vietnam
It was a
flashbacks.
PST.
Yeah, PSD Vietnam flashbacks.
Like, I could just imagine he's just like curled up in a corner holding his arms and all that's flashing. La 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 la.
Yeah, or that that meme face. That meme face with the whole what do you call it? The soldiers staring into the blankness of space kind of thing to the Vietnam flash. I could imagine like Mortman looking, Piccolo looking like that with the whole with the la 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 la, that the fucking SpongeBob meme is like la 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 la. Yeah, I thought it was fun with that, but yeah. So, anyways, he's just talking to her, over talking to her. It's like type of thing. It's just like, this is horrible. We need to get this guy back because it's like I don't want to fucking do it, but we're forced to do this because the mayor has an obsession of having fucking kids play a goddamn thing for the town. So So, anyways, so fucking what's his face comes. What's his face? Yeah, Edwardo.
Good old what's his face.
Good old what's his face. The wizard who likes puppets. Darkwell. Fuck it. I'm calling him Darkwell now. We all know who he is. So Darkwell comes in and he's just like, his fake name is just like, hello, I'm blah blah. I hear you're having some difficulties.
Norwell.
More like Norwell. Yeah, fucking, I love the Squidward thing.
Maybe with that Squidward face. Darkwell, more like Dorkwell.
I love that. Yes. I love how I got that in there, but this is funny. So anyways, so he ends up introducing. He's like, maybe I can help. Like, I'm a puppeteer. Let me show you. And he's just like, the quest starts with him doing his puppet play thing. And then it ends, and then they kind of go, that's mighty impressive, Mr. Edwardo. Let me just talk to Eugene for a second. It's like my partner here. And it's just like, what do you think, Eugene? It's like, he seems too good. Maybe we can have him here. It's just like, I don't know, Agatha. Every time we have somebody come in, there's always something bad happening. We don't even know who this guy is. And it's like, well, would you rather fucking direct it yourself? May I remind you of what happened with the mayor's son? And then later he's just like, "Welcome aboard." Yeah, so he's just like, but unfortunately, Mr. Piccolo is a drama teacher of this thing, and he's kind of refusing him all that. And he's like, oh, I can probably persuade him. Don't worry, I can fix everything here. That's why I'm here. I like to help people. He's like, why? Was like, why are you doing this? It's just like, I just like helping people. It's the holidays after all. Isn't that all about helping your fellow man? Right. So, anyways. Next quest starts. This is where Edwardo goes talk to Piccolo, who is in his home, not wanting to come out, being a Grinch in the sense, upset that he has his Christmas decoration 24/7 because fucking Susie put it up there and he can't go. Like he knows he's paralyzed.
Yeah, every time he tries to put it down, Susie comes back and put it back up, and he's like, "Oh, this is
Makes
a
it worse.
failing battle."
Every time he makes it worse. Fucking putting inflatable balloons up there and then fucking make it look as tacky as possible. Make his life miserable.
Fucking
Kind of like what
blowing
happened
up
with the
reindeer,
Squidward thing.
inflatable Santas and snowmen.
Yeah, it's like, what do you want? Can't you see that I'm busy? Step outside, we got something for you to see. Susie, take this stuff down immediately. Yeah. But the man, he's fucking paralyzed. He can't go up there and do it himself. And you know what? I don't know why he didn't pay somebody to take it down for him. But again, like you said, Susie probably comes back. It's like, fuck it. This is a losing battle. I fucking give up. She's
Yeah.
harassing me. All that stuff. Right. So, anyways, he's like I don't fucking care who you are, again. I don't want this anything about this. It's just like, well, I'm like that's disappointing. I guess I have to tell Mrs. Boers that you can't take it. It's like Boers, like as in Boers, as in the theater critic is like, oh yes, haven't you heard? She was actually coming by to visit the thing after I told her that I was coming involved. She was interested in coming to see the whole play about because for all we know, he could open you up to your bigger pastures, right? And this is where this is where he butters him up. This is just like, so where he gets him tricked in there, right? The quest starts, quest ends. So it's like, okay, Piccolo's agrees to this. He's like, fine, all right, I'll do it on one condition that you actually take care of the whole thing, and I take credit. It's like, oh, absolutely, you'll take all
I
the credit.
take credit.
It's like, but I want to take credit for this. He's like, oh, don't worry, you'll take all the credit. Oh no, everyone turned into puppets. Who did this? Piccolo. He did. No,
I can imagine as soon as
all this.
I can imagine as soon as everyone's turned into puppets, Piccolo just throws the script everywhere and defeat us mayor. You know what? Fuck it, I give up.
Yeah, I love that, but I love the fact that it could be very odd parents in the sense it's just like he did it. I didn't do that. I'm Piccolo, and I did, and I directed this play. It's like, and I directed, and I'm the one responsible for this play. I know I'm glad you got that reference.
Oh, I love that. It's a
I'm
fucking
Piccolo,
bit,
and I'm in a
good
dress.
reference.
I'm not in a. I think I don't want to wear a dress. I'm Piccolo, and I'm in a dress. So, yeah. So at that point, Piccolo agrees to the whole thing, right? So then we get to the last quest, which is basically um, Darkwell monologuing to himself. So this is where we get to better explain why he's going to be doing what we do. Like we know what he did, or what he's going to plan on doing, but why is he doing it, right? So it's kind of
Right.
showing off. Yeah, so it's kind of showing off that he's fucking like I'm just I know this is so off topic, but you are you familiar with Team America?
America, fuck yeah.
Okay, so you know the lonely song. I'm so lonely, so lonely,
Oh yeah.
no.
I'm so lonely.
Yeah, so
I'm so
I
very
can only imagine that's
lonely.
being the same thing here. It's just like he's the fucking lonely. He's a sad sack. He That's why he made Slappy and all that. It's like he's not evil. He just wants to share his love in his weird way. That's all. But no,
He's not evil. He's just lonely.
he's the evil. He's the evil he's the evil version of fucking Geppetto from Pinocchio in a sense, but magic. But yeah,
Oh my
basically,
god.
he has this weird obsession with like he's been so fucking like obsessed with puppets that that's all he knows. And he's like he can't. No one accepts who he is, so he's like fucking. You know, if no one accepts me who I am, then I'll take them for myself, and I'll make my own friends with my puppets, and I'll make money out of it at the same time to make a living. After all, I don't need food or money, but still, it's nice to have even the financial. You never know with this economy type of thing, right? But,
Friends? Who needs friends when you got rat puppets?
oh my god, can you imagine that being horrible? Like the actually fucking like the puppets, but can you imagine him manipulating the puppets to make them look something else, like fucking like the like Rat King or something like that? It's like fucking hell. Oh god, I can just imagine like, him taking fucking heads of the puppets and just putting them together. It's like it's a Rat King.
I can like imagine one of the like the thing I said like it was like a reference to like Ed's world.
Yeah, yeah.
So I could like imagine like he would just abandon humanity, just have his little puppets. Who needs friends when you got rat puppets?
Can imagine SpongeBob is just like the gang's all here. Yeah, lonely sack of shit. But yeah, no, that's a weird way. He's basically like fucking he's vengeful and just like just slappy just like his daddy. You know. His actual creator daddy, not his actual like writer daddy. He has two daddies.
Young daddy. It's like, I don't really know.
He has two daddies. He has two papas. Anyway, yeah, so anyways, he got that, and then I guess Curly comes in to do his ending. I don't know how it ended. It's just like he does a funny skeleton thing. Do a funny skeleton thing. That's how Slappy was born. I always wonder why Slappy got his self pity from. Now it makes all sense.
No, it all makes sense.
And then it's like, probably Slappy comes in at some point. It's just like, I don't know what he will do though, but and yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay. I really enjoyed that a lot, honestly.
Yeah, so you see why went with this story, right? So it's just like you can see how it's become somewhat of a Christmas story if you go the Nutcracker route, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it's hard because of the limitation stuff. But I think like you can make this kind of work. Again, it's weird because it's like in the spitballing phase, right? So if we were actually making this into a thing, you have to kind of like iron it out, kind of thing. Like the way I kind of did the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, that was more kind of like realistically fleshed out, whereas everything
Yeah.
else since then has been kind of like vague, throwing ideas out there to be like, this is vaguely what basically doing an R.L. Stein when it comes to his ghostwriters. That's like, here's the idea. Here's the idea. You
Is
do
that what we're gonna call it now? It's like whenever we
R.L.
just throw
Stein.
ideas and hope it sticks, we're just gonna call it Steining it.
Yeah, Steining it. I love that word. All right, here's my idea. We got a haunted tape that turns people into jolly characters. Here you go. You do the rest.
Okay, here's the title: Holly Jolly Holiday.
You
Go.
yeah. Here's the
Uh,
plot. Here's the plot synopsis. Here you go. Now you do the rest. And then he gets this weird shit, like this whole simulation thing. Is I was like, what the fuck is? What the fuck? Fuck it. Like, no one's gonna notice. Fine. I'll upload it. Run by RL.
Hello, I'm R.L. Stein, and
I
what
read
the
the
fuck is
Goosebumps.
this shit?
I read the Goosebumps book, as far as you know. I love it when it comes to, like, R.L. Stein, and then there's like quotation R.L. Stein.
Wait, I can imagine like R.L. Stein like, hello, I'm R.L. Stein, and he does, and I write Goosebumps books.
That's all I'm known for. I write the Goosebump books. No other books. Just Goosebumps.
It's like,
Fear
what about
Street?
Fear Street? I
What's
only write
that?
Goosebumps books.
What's that? What about that weird what about that weird comic you wrote for the? Oh, you know what's? I want to bring this up because this is the weirdest thing. Did you know he was a writer for a fucking kids show?
Repeat that, sorry?
Did you know that he was like he was a writer, a main writer for a children's show?
I do recall that, yeah. But I
It
don't
was like
remember
this
what the
weird.
show was.
It's like something like fucking castle, something like that. Let me see if I can find out. It's a weird show.
Did you know he also did you
Eureka.
know he also created the Garbage Pail Kids?
Well, he made a book series about it. Yeah, it's Eureka's
Yeah.
Castle. That's what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
All
So
I do
that's
know is he did not make the Garbage Pail Kids movie because that shit was utter trash.
yeah. Oh my God, what the
I,
fuck is this? I just come like I just try to look at some of the stuff here, and it's like immediately I get hit with a Slappy the Dummy, Night of the Living Dummy pictures, and then it's like one of them in the middle is fucking fucking AR night, AI nightmare. Like this is the Slappy World fucking
oh,
AI made it.
no, you have to show that. You have to show that.
I have to. Oh God, fuck you! You're not letting me save
Yes.
that.
Save it and show it.
Well, I said one. Oh God damn it! This too. Fuck. I have like there's another picture here with R.L. Stein like Slappy with a toy Slappy, and he's just like looking. I don't know what he's doing here. Let's show the picture, but yeah, he writes the
I
Goosebumps.
can imagine the title of this podcast would be like the nuttiest episode ever or something.
Yeah, do you want to go with that then? Oh God,
Yeah.
where was that pit? Oh, there it is. Let's see if I can find out how to save this. I fucking hate Google when it's just like, oh, you want to take this picture? Sorry, here's a Google link. Fuck you. Save image. No, not web. Fuck you. I don't want web. I can't do it. I'm gonna have to. You know what? I'm gonna do the old-fashioned way. I'm gonna. Fuck you, pop-up ads.
You
I'm
can't just
gonna
like
screenshot
screenshot it
it.
or something?
That's what I'm doing. I'm screenshotting this shit. Fuck your stupid shit. Yeah, we don't want to stop people from pirating our shit. Yeah, well, fuck you. I have ways of doing it. Screen print. Click. It's like
When one window closes, another window opens.
yeah. It's like what do you call it? Fucking when people were like, I have this inner NFT, right? And it's just like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, let me right click save. Now it's mine. It's like you can't do that.
Okay, that reminds me of a Merriweather comic where like there's like this artist or this NFT artist, and she was like showing it off like, look at this look at this great NFT I just made. And you can save. And she was like, what are you doing? And she tried to call the police. It's like, you stole my NFT. No, of course this is serious.
Oh my fucking God, it gets worse. Oh my God,
Oh
this
my
is
god,
horrible.
what? Really?
This is horrible. It's showing pictures of fucking Slappy AR nightmares. It's like, fuck me. AI was a mistake. This is a nightmare. I hate this. You want? Like, I'm suffering through this. Now you are suffering through this. Fuck you.
Oh, I gotta see these.
Yeah, you probably are right now if I'm not late. You know, I'm probably not going to be lazy because I'm off during this time, so I'm probably going to take my time with this, but still, it's just like, god damn, fuck me. What's with these pictures? Like, it's one thing to get art, and then it's like another, it's just like, nah, AI nightmare for this. Is it, please do me that. Here's the thing. Okay, like, I'm going to argue this right now for, like, I'm like, I don't know how your feelings on AI, but I feel like AI is good in some aspects. Like if it comes to mediocre tasks, like wanna, like here's an example. Someone did a thing where they did, those keyframes when you come to animations, where you kind of do these like a rough animation of like certain segments animation, but it's not a fluent animation, but it's just like giving you the idea
Right.
of how it should go. They basically said
Yeah.
AI, okay, take this and just smooth it to one position, and it basically shows the end result, which is actually nice and smooth. It's like that repetitive bullshit of like drawing the same picture over and over and over again. You don't need to do that anymore. Now AI can fucking do that for you. You just do the main key points and just animate this, right? For the most part, just don't do
Right.
anything else. Just kind of connect one from the other, right? So that ends up working for that. But and then when it comes to concept, like say for example, like for you, for example, for an artist, it's like I want to give you an idea of like I want you to draw this, right? Like so I'll give you a AI, like this is how I roughly will look like, but you like do your version type of thing, right? So that helpful when it
Right.
comes to making a rough sketch of something for like fucking god, this gets worse. But these fucking images are just cursed, man. It's like fucking where that's the other thing too, is the new book coming out from him is Say My Name, Say My Name. It's kind of like AI nightmare going on there with a house being haunted or something like that. I don't remember what it is exactly, but I'm curious with how that book's gonna be turned out.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird, but anyways, regardless of that, I feel like stuff like that, using it as an asset, it's like that's fine, right? You can do that. But as far as things go, as far as like making AI for replacing stuff, no. That's no, there's no fucking way of doing that. There's like I feel like, and YouTube is on this shit right now because they know this shit is gonna come eventually. But I feel like there's gonna be a fucking thing coming through Congress, not Congress, but like fucking laws could be in place where it's like you have to disclose when something is made with AI. You can't just say here's something like for most people they could probably tell it's AI, but it's like you have to disclose that this is AI.
Yeah, that we can't all be fucking face. Oh, what's that loser's name? He was like I forgot his name, but he was like the guy who like totally ditched video making to have AI do everything for him.
Oh fuck! I know who you're talking about. It's that guy who's just like, oh, people think that my AI is scary. So you know what I'll do instead? I made my AI be realistic. What you're seeing right now is actually AI. He's like, fuck you.
Yeah, like instead of like making an apology video or something, he just had
He
every
doubles.
video he
He
made
fucking
with
doubles
AI.
down. Yeah, he just doubles down on that. What the fuck is his name? I'm gonna say
Yeah, right.
the only AI thing I actually liked was from Goosebumps was the Goofbumps, which is the Welcome to Sandhands.
Welcome to Sandhands.
Yeah, so what happened was, the infamous Harry Potter and the Ash that look suspiciously look like what the fuck it's called? That book that was an AI someone fed an AI machine all the Harry Potter books to fart out a fucking chapter of a supposed Harry Potter book, right?
Right.
So this same AI made the same thing with Goosebumps, but it's a Give Yourself Adventure book. And I actually read this on my other channel, on my second channel. So
Oh, you should put a link to that in the description.
yeah, I'm lazy on that. You can look it for yourself. It's special.
Wow, you expect AI to do everything for you then, huh?
Yes, actually I do. Sometimes I do want that to happen. Not everything though, no. But yeah. it's so fucking weird. But yeah, it's so odd with this whole level we got. The one thing I'll give AI though is that sometimes it gives us funny memes. Like now we can have like if I really want to and I want to be a dickhead about it, I could actually have take some act like voice acting and actually have characters like actual AI change my voice to sound just like the character, which is scary. Like that we've come to a day and age where the whole house hippo thing is actually becoming more harder to fake. Right now it's like, oh, this
Yeah.
is totally real now. It's like, fuck me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You want the true horror. There we go. We're living in
yeah, AI is kind of scary.
it. Yeah. Too spooky for me.
3 spooky 5 me.
Yeah. These spooks all over the place.
It's spookin' time and spooks all over the place.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think we probably should wrap it up because I don't think there's anything else here, right?
No.
Yeah, so it's getting long enough, so we won't keep you long here. So, anyways, hopefully you enjoyed I hope you enjoy your festivities and everything like that. And not only that, but you might be thinking, well, what about the special? Like, what teaser are you gonna do? It's like there's no point for a teaser because you know what's coming up next. It's part two to the Tune In Tomorrow update from Play for the Vampire. The final stuff to see, so I'm curious to see how that's going to turn out. And the last thing to point out is that the next episode you're going to see in January, I think, is going to be our final season 1 finale. So every year we're doing it as a season. So we're going to be taking a look at the whole episodes as we've done so far, looking at highlights, anything we should have changed, and all that stuff. And it's kind of like looking back in a sense. And we'll go from there. So it's going to
Yeah.
be interesting to see how this turns out, and we're looking forward to it. And we'll talk more about that and finishing our after this point. It's like last Christmas in January, so it's like what we could do. But anyways, so I've been Grim.
And Merry Belated Christmas. Oh, 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 oh.
Thank you, Chris. Very nice of you to come in at the last minute. And that's a wrap.
See ya.
Happy holidays, by the way.
I mean, I already covered that, but yeah.
Oh, come on. I'm trying to be festive here, alright?